Welcome back to Kings of the North. Doug Lesmerises and Bill Landis. We have guests today, Bill. We have some stuff from Vegas that we did out there during Big Ten Media Days a week ago that we saved for this show. One of those things is asking Big Ten coaches and players what they are eating and watching. We didn't ask them what they're thinking because they're too busy to do that. But we're going to include that in Whatcha at the end of the show, which should be fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. I'm actually I'm looking forward to seeing it all sort of compiled together. But I don't think anybody we asked the question to like gave a bad answer, right? They were already ready for a little Whatcha talk, which was nice.
Most humans, as far as I know, eat
and watch.
It's eat and watch. I mean, we try to be a show of the people, by the people, for the people, and those people include college football coaches and players. So they will be part.
Weren't you a little nervous we were going to get like on watching film and eating protein shakes? Because I was.
No, I mean, and we got some of that, but if you can push past the first level of protein shakes and grinding film. Mm-hmm. They're real human beings inside there. Yes. And we push past. Yeah. And then Ari and Andrew here. So we did a Heisman draft from our spot on Radio Row. And we invited, and we're so pleased to be joined by Andy Staples and Ari Wasserman of their show at On 3. And the four of us did a Heisman draft where we each picked four people, Bill. That was in totality. Let me do that real quick. 4 times 4, carry the 1. 16 players that we picked for the Heisman, but it wasn't just straight up, but we had like a good ball talk thing for a while. Yes.
Yeah. It was not just like straight up. We had some parameters placed around it, around favorites and long shots and super long shots. And it wasn't just naming dudes. It was sort of talking about the state of the quarterback position in college football this year.
Yeah. And so we think you will enjoy that draft. I know a lot of the folks like it when Ari comes back and hangs out with us because we used to hang out with him for a while. And we also have the 25-year winter, which we don't want to hit people over the head with, but we just want to remind them that there's a special thing out there that we're doing. And episode 3 is now out. That dropped on Tuesday. That's the players episode, recruiting, player acquisition, how the North and the South over the 25-year period that we discuss on that show went about getting players and who did it better, Bill. And you did a lot of deep diving on the numbers for that. I think it's informative and interesting.
Definitely. I very much appreciate everyone who's kind of checked it out so far. I will say this. So episode 4 is scheduled to come out on Thursday, and I think it's the best episode thus far. I guess you would hope that that's the case. You sort of like build up to it. But somebody who listened to it like told to me like this keeps getting better and better. I was like, yeah, we kind of got like more comfortable each time we did one. But I think that combined with the subject matter of episode 4 makes episode 4 the best one so far.
Episode 4 is the cheating pod.
Yeah.
Episode 4 is the cheating pod. So that will drop on Thursday, and then the conclusion, episode 5, will drop next week. And so Chris is saying, really enjoying the 25-year winter. That's just great to hear. We want to do this. This is important to us. This is what we do. We talk college football from a Northern perspective every day during the season, and we want to be here for this audience, but we want to branch out. We want to do other cool stuff. So we were excited to do the 25-year winter. And Bill, I think we enjoyed it enough. It's been received well enough. I don't think it's the end of us doing stuff like that.
No, this was the entree into doing stuff like this, I think. So looking forward to doing more of it. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if the response had been, you guys stink at that, stick to daily ball talk, it would have been like, hey, well, maybe it's a one-time thing.
Well, sure. Yeah.
John checking in saying he's enjoying the 25-year winter. So we want to start this conversation with a discussion about the quarterback position that will help us build up to lead into that Heisman draft conversation. And it is something that we have touched on, danced around. I think we'll continue to talk about, Bill, as we get closer to the season. And it's just veteran quarterbacks versus young quarterbacks and where they fit, who they're playing for, just as kind of a disparity in a bunch of really high-profile, successful teams with first-year starting quarterbacks this year. Not quite as many veteran transfer starters at the highest level as maybe we've seen in the past couple years, and then how that is going to affect college football this year. And then I will say, as often happens, you dug into some numbers, and then I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I got to change my mind on a bunch of this stuff. But like, do you feel like this conversation does matter to the sport in 2025?
Yeah, it does. And the numbers that I dug into kind of changed my mind a little bit too, because I even say something in the recorded draft that we have with Andy and Ari about quarterback experience and how it impacts my thinking on things that I think I've now changed after I dug into some of the information that I looked at. No, I think it matters. I think it matters a lot. And also I'm a little surprised at the state of things when you look at, especially the number of like 4 and 5 year starters in college football. You went through team by team, so I'll let you unveil that, but it's a lower number than I definitely would have guessed.
Yeah, and this is Bud Elliott on the On3 show has been kind of touching on this a lot. I think it would be good. We want to have Bud on. We saw him in Vegas. We didn't have a chance to have him on there to record, but he'll come on. I think this would be good to broach this with a guy like that. We had we were in the COVID blip, and we're out of it. And that affects many positions, but I think as we saw, it and did affect quarterback maybe the most. And then that we came out of COVID when everybody got a free year, and then the transfer portal opened up in a way that we'd never had in the sport before, where it became so much more normalized, and you had impact players moving, and you had old impact players moving in a way that never happened before. And I think it's over, and we have to adjust to that. Yes?
I think it's over. It's like more over than I realized.
Yes.
I thought it would be a more gradual sort of pull out of that era of college football. But I mean, math being what it is, I suppose it makes sense that it's over. And as we head into 2025, after that 2020 season that didn't count for anybody, but the stark shift is a little more dramatic than I realized.
Yeah, and like, not everybody is Dillon Gabriel, not everybody is Curtis Rourke, right? That not everybody's Michael Penix, and that's kind of it. Like last year in the 12-team playoff, 5 of the 12 quarterbacks for the playoff teams were transfers in that year, and Curtis Rourke and Dillon Gabriel were both 5th-year starters who transferred in that year. And you can like really, what Bo Nix had been at Oregon the year before, what Michael Penix had been at Washington previously, like, and other guys, you can really, they just stick in my mind, Bill. And I think as we are transitioning out of this period, I look back maybe even incorrectly and think, I remember back like 2 years ago when every single quarterback in the country was 27 years old, and that was weird. And it was maybe even, it's like, that's less true than I remember. And it's shifted back away from that more than I realize, which gets us here, because my inclination going into that Heisman draft, and I think what I've talked about, at least during much of the offseason, is I don't know. It's interesting to me, all these blue bloods with first-year quarterbacks. Ohio State and Julian Sayin, Michigan and Bryce Underwood, Notre Dame and CJ Carr, Georgia and Gunnar Stockton, Alabama and Ty Simpson. Like, you can just run through this entire list when actually it's like, yeah, that's how it always is. What are you freaked out about, right?
It is how it always is, yes. And what I'm glad that's sort of what I looked up, and I'm glad to sort of have that reset, because I was sort of with you, like, ready to be fully of the mindset that we're like, well, I'm not going to pick any of those teams win a national championship because they have a young quarterback. And it's like, well, that's typically who wins a national championship.
Yeah.
So, the sport is it's at this position, at least. I don't know if it's true of all positions, and we wouldn't have the time to study that necessarily. But at the quarterback position, like the era of the 5th, 6th year, 24 to 26-year-old quarterback seems like it's over.
Yeah. I do think so. I can remember pretty vividly thinking this. We weren't the only ones going into the 2021 season. Clemson Alabama, and Ohio State had the 3 highest ranked quarterback recruits in the previous class. They were all going to be first-year starters, and they were all second-year players. And kind of thinking going into that, it's reasonable to think 2 of the 3 hit. That what I don't think is reasonable, I didn't think then and I don't think now, is talented first-year quarterback, of course you're fine. I don't think that's right. I think there are going to be some of these teams who have lesser seasons than expected because they wind up leaning on a first-year starting quarterback, maybe with a great recruiting pedigree, who doesn't quite match expectations. And when you look back at 2021 and what happened, Bryce Young in Alabama hit in the moment and long term. CJ Stroud, Ohio State, hit in the moment and long term. DJ Uiagalelei and Clemson, not a hit. Mm-hmm. And it affected the Clemson program, not just that season, but in that window. And that, I think, will be true, Bill, as we go through some of these first-year quarterback situations. I think at the end of this season or a year from now, we will look back and be like, man, that did not go how that program expected, and there were consequences.
No doubt. That'll happen. It's just not going to happen across the board. And even though I believe and I agree with you that will happen, having a young quarterback is not prohibitive to success either, right? That's sort of the mindset I'm trying to get myself out of. It's like, well, the sport's trending older. Everyone's got to be older. I even think, who was I listening to at Big Ten Media Days? It might have been Kirk Ferentz, who was saying the thing that other coaches have said, like drawing the comparisons to college basketball where old wins. It's like, well, there was a window where old won.
Yes.
but
I think it might have been PJ. Might have been
PJ Fleck maybe. And I guess that's not just about COVID guys having the extra years of eligibility. It's about retaining guys from their 3rd year and their 4th year who could go to the NFL. So I'm not trying to be entirely dismissive of it. And certainly that could apply to the quarterback position. But I think we are now back to a place where a team with a young quarterback can definitely win the national championship. But that doesn't mean that everyone's going to find success with a young quarterback. I guess the challenge in kind of figuring out the season is maybe looking at the pieces around those young quarterbacks and the schedules and the situations and figuring out who is going to hit and who isn't, because there will definitely be teams that won't.
Okay. I went through the Power 68 and made some guesses here and there on some quarterback competitions, just some assumptions, some leaders going into camp. And you guys know, we know camp is starting this week, right? Some of the teams who are maybe playing on a Thursday or Friday instead of Saturday in week 1, they're already rolling. Other teams are starting here in the next day or two. So we're going to start reacting to the news that is coming out of camps. But this is like a good final sort of off-season reset going into that. Power 68, expected starting quarterbacks. Overall number of seasons as a starter, I did not include junior college, but I included everything that would be an FBS, group of 6, FCS, that kind of thing. By my count, 1 quarterback in the Power 68 who will be entering his 5th year as a starter. And this goes back to the team that we talked about on Monday and thought was a very interesting team with a very difficult schedule. But the Iowa Hawkeyes with Mark Gronowski and all the winning he did at the FCS level stand alone. He's the most experienced guy. Now, Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt is a 4th-year starting quarterback in big-time college football. He did start 2 years in junior college, so that would be 6. But you got to draw lines, so I didn't quite count that. But then Diego Pavia is also among the most experienced quarterbacks in college football. Gronowski stands alone when certainly the last couple years, Bill, this was not the case. Only 1 5th-year guy.
Yeah, this blew my mind. He was the only one. I wanted to look. I was trying to look up as you were talking. So I guess would Mikey Keene qualify if he were to win the Michigan job?
So yeah, I think that's right. And it's one of those, I just did Underwood because I assume it'll be him or they'll get to him pretty quickly. But yeah.
So no, I guess maybe not. So he started in 21. Yeah, he would have. So even if there's 2, that's still
yeah.
I would if you would have said, hey, how many? If you would have said before doing this research and sharing it with me, if you said, how many 5-year starting quarterbacks are there in college football this year? I might have guessed like 12.
Right.
There's one.
Right. Because there used to be 12.
Yeah.
So does that affect, what kind of effect does that have on our view of Iowa football? That we already ran through offensive line, great, defensive identity. They feel better, like maybe something is popping at receiver for them. Still good running back. Second year with Tim Lester calling the shots offensively. Phil Parker is great as a DC. Kirk Ferentz knows how to win. And by the way, they are number one in the mix of talent and experience in all of major college football. They're the old dude quarterback team.
Yes. And he's not just old, he's good.
He's
right?
good.
And I'm trying to think there for as commonplace now as finding your quarterback via the transfer portal is, I don't think there's a ton of high level FCS quarterbacks moving up to start in the FBS. And the handful that I can think of, sort of off the top of my head, have worked pretty well. Like Cam Ward, Max Brosmer, even like Haj Malik Williams at UNLV. Like he was good at Campbell, and then he was good at UNLV, right? I guess like Matt Sluka from Holy Cross to UNLV didn't work, but that was for kind of different reasons. So the fact that the track record is strong, Gronowski is super old and super talented, and I guess I just come back to like, well, if he's healthy, he's going to be good, and Iowa should be pretty darn good at quarterback.
Because he is old enough that he is still a COVID guy, because he played in 20, it didn't count, and then he has a redshirt injury year in the midst of that, which why he's still like, you've really got to thread a needle to be a guy who has that extra COVID year in 2025 that matters and is affecting things. We know there are some 7th and 8th year guys in college football sprinkled throughout the sport, but they're not as many that matter as used to be. So, okay. So that's one of our points. 5th year starting quarterbacks. There's one. 4th year starting quarterbacks, like not a ton. 7 I have of the 68, and these are the 7 that I have. Baron Morton at Texas Tech has been there the whole time. Haynes King at Georgia Tech, who started off at Texas A&M, but is going to be a third-year starter at Georgia Tech. Ethan Kaliak-Manis at Rutgers, who is in his 2nd year at Rutgers and also was basically a 2-year starter at Minnesota. Jalen Daniels at Kansas, all 4 years. Diego Pavia, transfer to Vanderbilt, 2nd year at Vanderbilt, and Blake Shapen at Mississippi State, who was in his 2nd year at Mississippi State, and then Talon Green, 2nd year at Arkansas, who was a Boise State transfer. So like those veteran guys, Texas Tech, Georgia Tech, Rutgers, Kansas, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, Arkansas, that's not Oregon, right? Like, like Georgia Tech, does that make you think Georgia Tech is an interesting playoff dark horse in the ACC? Does it add anything to our view of Kansas this season? Does it add anything? All the things that I've said to sort of like dismiss Texas Tech buying a team with oil money, they're adding the oil money team to a 4th year starting quarterback at their school. Does that reinforce anything at Texas Tech?
It does for me a little bit. Yeah. It is interesting because if you look at this, so there's 8 schools total that'll have like very veteran quarterbacks this year. But I think of the 8, the only 3 that you could say have even a small chance of making the playoff would be Georgia Tech, Iowa, and Texas Tech. Like the rest, I want to put Kansas in that category. So I do think there are some people who have expressed similar opinions about Georgia Tech to those that I've expressed about Duke. Like, can there be a kind of surprising ACC contender? So like seeing Haynes King at Georgia Tech in this group, and also I don't know that Georgia Tech lost a game that Haynes King started last year, maybe just one. That makes sense to me. And it does make me, I guess I view Texas Tech a little bit differently, and certainly I would view Iowa a little bit differently now, understanding like just how much of an outlier these teams are in the sport this year. Yeah.
Okay. 3rd year starting quarterbacks, the guys who are expected to be the starter, who have started 2 years previously. This is a little healthier, 18. I'll run through them all real quick, and you can maybe make a list, Bill, the ones that stand out to you. We've talked about 2 of them a lot, and I think these 2 guys reinforce things about their status in the sport as Heisman contenders and as leaders of potential national championship teams. That's Drew Aller at Penn State and Cade Klubnik at Clemson. as third-year starters at that program. Carson Beck at Miami, third-year starter, but first at Miami. Jade Maeva at USC. I sort of counted the games he started at USC last year. He had been the full-time starter at UNLV the year before. Some of these guys, if they're like a half-year starter, sometimes I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes I didn't. Joey Aguilar at Tennessee. He also had 2 years starting at junior college before he went to App State. So if you want to include junior college, then he's super old. But he, at the very least, is a third-year starter, but it's a first year at a Power 4 level. Luke Altmaier at Illinois, like very similar, I think, to the boat for Aller and Klubnik. Kyron Jones at Virginia Tech, Grayson James, if he wins the job at Boston College, Fernando Mendoza at Indiana, the transfer from Cal, I think obviously very important. Thomas Castellanos coming from BC to Florida State. They hope he hits. Chandler Morris at Virginia as a transfer. Noah Fafita at Arizona as their guy. Josh Hoover at TCU as their guy. Sawyer Robertson at Baylor as their guy. Rocco Becht at Iowa State as their guy. This is like everything Brett Yormark talked about with the Big 12 having veteran quarterbacks. Caden Salter at Colorado, who started 2 years at Liberty, first year at Colorado. Brendan Sorsby at Cincinnati. Again, this is continuing the Big 12 conversation. And then Zach Calzada at Kentucky, 1 year starter at Texas A&M, 1 year starter at Incarnate Word, now at Kentucky. Who popped for you in that group of 18?
I mean, like Brendan Sorsby pops for me.
Okay.
I am, as we've gotten closer to the season, like as someone who's not been particularly enthusiastic about what Scott Satterfield has done at Cincinnati, I'm viewing Cincinnati more and more as a team that might surprise some people.
Okay.
And part of it is because of the experience of Brendan Sorsby, but also like I think that like if you look at his tools, like the real opportunity for him to take a step forward this year. I don't know if much else pops, to be perfectly honest, because the teams that are playoff contenders, like I knew that about them, right? But I don't know that I look at the group of teams here who aren't considered playoff contenders and think to myself, well, maybe I should be thinking of them differently because they have a veteran quarterback. I still don't know, like, there's not enough around Kyron Drones. There's not enough around Noah Fafita. There's not enough around. Maybe there's enough around Jada Maeva, but so I don't know. Maybe Maeva would be another one who popped as one who could be interesting if USC is taking a step forward this year.
Okay. Now, second-year quarterbacks, this is where we have the biggest group. This is just a ton of guys who started last year and are back to start at their schools. There are 24 of them by my count. This includes guys like Eli Holstein at Pitt, Aiden Childs at Michigan State, Dylan Raiola at Nebraska, Avery Johnson at Kansas State, Devin Dampier as a transfer to Utah, Sam Levitt at Arizona State, your guy Darian Mensah at Duke as a transfer from Tulane. I'm not going to, Nico Iamaleava going from Tennessee to UCLA. I'm not going to run through every single one of those because I do want to get to the first-year starters, and then I want to make a point about the type of teams that these guys are on. First-year starting quarterbacks in the Power 4, I think it's 17 I have. So 18, excuse me. 18. So those 18. Here we go. Missouri with Bo Perbula as a transfer from Penn State. DeMond Williams at Washington. Zane Flores at Oklahoma State. Nico Marchiol at West Virginia. Elijah Brown at Stanford. Devin Brown is an Ohio State transfer at Cal. Steve Angeli or Ricky Collins at Syracuse. Justin Martin or Malik Washington at Maryland. Ryan Brown at Purdue, although he did start some games last year. He started 2 games last year. I didn't call him the starter from last year. Drake Lindsay at Minnesota, Austin Simmons at Ole Miss, Bryce Underwood, Michigan, CJ Carr, Notre Dame, Ty Simpson, Alabama, Julian Sayin, Ohio State, Gunnar Stockton, Georgia, Arch Manning at Texas, and then McKay Hillstead at BYU. Started 4 games at Utah State in 2023, then sat last year at BYU. It's like he and Dante Moore are similar. I called Dante Moore a 2-year starter. I called Hillstead a 1.5. Anyway, that's a lot of great teams, Bill. And that's the thing that sort of, I think, has driven our conversation a lot. And what we're concluding is like, no big deal. That's how the sport works. Okay. Like, end of conversation. Yeah. Notre Dame has a first-year starting quarterback. Okay, fine. Notre Dame can still win the national championship with CJ Carr. Yes?
Yeah, they can. It remains interesting nonetheless. So I was looking at the FanDuel National Championship odds again, which have changed a little bit. But 5 of the 9 teams in the top 2 tiers by the odds will have first-year starters, and 7 of the 14, like in the top 3 tiers, will have first-year starters. So It's a nice chunk of championship contenders trying to do it with a first-year starter, which remains interesting, even if history tells us it can be done.
Right. I looked at, so it's 7 of the top 14 have first-year starters.
Yeah.
Arch Manning at Texas, Gunnar Stockton at Georgia, Julian Sand at Ohio State, Ty Simpson at Alabama. Like Dante Moore at Oregon is kind of in between 1 and 2. CJ Carr at Notre Dame, Bryce Underwood at Michigan, Carson Beck at Miami is a first-year starter at Miami, but he's not a first-year starter. But Austin Simmons at Ole Miss. So 7 of 14 are a first-year starter overall. And then like the thing in the end, Landis, that is, so what we've talked about is, does that make you, if you're making a national title pick, understanding that we believe those programs can still be good, does it push you towards Drew Aller at Penn State, Cade Klubnik at Clemson, maybe Carson Beck at Miami? Does it push you toward them at all? Does it push you toward Garrett Nussmeier in year 2 at LSU? Does it push you toward Marcel Reed in year 2 at Texas A&M? Like is it enough that as you're thinking about things, is there an edge? Or are you like, no, there's no edge. I'm not giving Marcel Reed an edge over Julian Sand because I think Julian Sand's going to be awesome. I don't care if somebody if Carson Beck had a weird, goofy year last year. Give me CJ Carr, right? Is that? I think maybe we both feel like we've overestimated quarterback experience over the last 3 months because we still were covered in the veteran confetti of the last 2 years.
Yeah. If you would have asked me that question a week ago, if you would have asked me that question 24 hours ago, I probably would have said, yes, I would lean towards those guys. And maybe I still would, like a tiebreaker situation. Maybe I would err on the side of experienced quarterback. But then can I give my stuff that I looked up now that has me backing off of that? So I looked at the 10 years of the 4-team playoff.
Yep.
The average starting years, the average years started coming into the season where the teams made the playoff for the 40 teams who made the playoff from 2014 through 2023 was 1.85. And the average starting years of the 10 national championship winners was 1.5. Will Howard is the most experienced quarterback to win a national title in the playoff era, like by a significant margin. Every other title winner has been a first-year or second-year quarterback. It's split in half, five first-year, 5 second-year. Will Howard came to Ohio State, I think, with 27 starts under his belt and then won the national title this year. So maybe he's sort of like the first in a shift toward more experienced quarterbacks starting to win national titles more regularly, or that becoming sort of like a defining characteristic of national title winners. But we have far more data that suggests that you can be young and win and it's fine than we do you need to be old to win. So I am very much now no longer thinking to myself, well, whoever I pick to win the national championships this year has to have an old experienced quarterback.
Let me ask you this question. But you pointed out, is it 3 guys that you pointed out?
Yes.
Talk about those 3 guys.
So it was over the last 3 years of the 4-team playoff. You did see there are only 4 4-year starters who were on playoff teams. The first was Desmond Ridder at Cincinnati in 2021. The second was Max Duggan at TCU in 2022, and the third was Michael Penix Jr. at Washington in 2023. So they stacked up over the last 3 years of the 4-team playoff, and then obviously there were a couple last year in the 12-team field. So. And if you look like I did average by year too, like average year starting by year, it's a lot of like 1.5 to 2 most years. And then in 2020, it was 2.25, and it was the same in 2022 and 2023. So there was like a slight uptick in the average experience of the quarterbacks. But the winners, the championship quarterbacks, remained on the younger side.
Is this a possible conclusion? When we're talking about the teams that really have the elite talent and depth of talent to win it all, and we're not dismissing anybody because we love everybody in sports and in college football loves underdog stories. And if there's some team that's 17th in the odds that wins the national championship this year, the sports can love it. And it certainly can happen. But we understand what the perceived, and I think in reality, top tier is. when we're talking about national championship winners, you have so much talent in the trenches at skill to make up for injuries. You're probably paying coaches a bunch of money, so they better be pretty good. You can win with a young quarterback. But if you're looking for jumps, if you're looking for teams to make the playoff, even, for instance, Indiana last year with Curtis Rourke, maybe this is one of those, Indiana last year, who would have picked them to make the playoff? Well, beyond Cignetti, maybe you would have said, they brought in a veteran dude at quarterback. So if we're talking more like about teams that could make it and be unexpected, would that lead us to Haynes King and Georgia Tech? Would that lead us to Texas Tech and Baron Morton? Would that lead us to Luke Altmaier and Illinois? Would that lead us to Indiana again and Fernando Mendoza? Would that make, despite the schedule, Iowa and Mark Gronowski even more intriguing? Because maybe what can separate good programs who are not stocked with first-round draft picks at every position, what can take them from good to great, from 9 wins to 10 or 11 wins in the playoff, is a veteran quarterback still.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes, it's sort of, because I would say the experience matters more, or can matter more at least, in sort of like the throes of the regular season, the ups and downs of it, the limited time to adjust to things, that kind of stuff, right? Like an experienced quarterback goes a long way in helping you navigate a lot of that stuff to the point where you could elevate and get to the playoff. But then I think once you get to the playoff, the pacing is different, the preparation is different. I think it becomes much more, again, just about like raw talent, right?
Okay.
And then I think that's where you can start to lean back toward teams, or not be scared off by teams that have younger quarterbacks. But yeah, very much so. I do think the experience piece matters more to getting to the playoff than it does picking a national champion.
Last year, 4 first-year starting quarterbacks made the playoff. Maddox Madsen at Boise State, who won the job. People weren't even expecting him maybe to be the starter, but he also happened to be riding one of the greatest running backs in college football history. Sam Levitt at Arizona State, which was a transfer in from Michigan State, and people liked him, but that's a guy who popped, and that was an offensive-minded head coach who was able to get the best out of Sam Levitt. And also, and it's why I'm a little curious about Arizona State this year, also rode one of the best running backs in the country. That Sam Levitt was not the engine of Arizona State last year. Cam Skattebo was. It's nothing against Sam Levitt, but Skattebo's gone. I'm curious what that means. Nico Iamaleava, again, like, would you say that that's a 5-star guy? That's more, he was more on the CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, DJ Uiagalelei path, but also was Nico the driver? Was Nico the driver of Tennessee last year in your mind?
No, it was their defensive line and Dylan Sampson.
But he also didn't get in the way. He didn't do anything to prevent them. Like he did what he needed to do. So credit to him for that. And then Kevin Jennings at SMU, who like took over from Preston Stone, and then was like, oh my gosh, like out of nowhere. So that's a huge credit to Kevin Jennings and everything that SMU did last year. Nobody would have expected that. So, there were some their first year quarterbacks are capable of surprising you. But I would say this is not a gambling show. This is not a gambling episode. Would we maybe suggest the veteran quarterbacks that we just gave you, Baron Morton, Haynes King, Mark Gronowski, Luke Altmaier, like Fernando Mendoza, pick one of those teams and bet them to make the playoff, because you're going to get pretty good odds on that.
Yep, I would say, yeah, I think it's fine and probably smart maybe to let a veteran quarterback led team kind of guide you toward trying to figure out a sleeper.
Yes.
Because like in the ACC, my sleeper is Darian Mensah. He's a 1-year starter.
Right.
And it's like, well, maybe Haynes King is a better option to bet on there.
Yeah, watch out. Watch out, Georgia.
Yeah.
I have to get a Georgia Tech hat. Haynes King versus Gunnar Stockton, last game of the regular season. Who you riding with? I'm
riding with Haynes King.
Haynes King.
Georgia Tech is an ACC team in Atlanta that plays like it's in the Big Ten West, so I like Georgia Tech.
Yeah. We can make a Mark Gronowski, Haynes King double dip, both to make the playoff. My God, like 60-1 on that. Okay. When we come back, you will see us from Vegas. You will see us joined by Ari Wasserman and Andy Staples. When that finishes, we'll take another break. We'll come back in and we'll do Whatcha. So there's a tiny little bit of what we said here today, Bill, that also will be repeated slightly in the conversation there. The other thing we have to note is when Ari gets up and does a dance about DJ Lagway, that was recorded before news came out that DJ Lagway at Florida is day-to-day, and now everybody's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. And I want to apologize in advance for the level of SEC talk that takes place in this Heisman draft. But we have to remind ourselves that we are not just talking about Northern college football. We are talking about national college football from a Northern view. And I think Andy and Ari getting in to an SEC quarterback conversation for 5 minutes and me having an allergic reaction on the show is college football from a Northern view. Right?
That's right.
I'm allergic to Garrett Nussmeier. That's Northern view. That's the Northern view of LSU football. All right. Quick break. We'll be back with our Heisman draft. Special 4-man weave here on Kings of the North. Doug Lesmerises, Andy Staples, and Ari Wasserman of On 3, and Bill Landis, Kings of the North. And we are here to do a Heisman draft with a Warhammer. We are each going to draft 2 Heisman players. They can be anybody you want. A mid-tier Heisman long shot, which by the odds we are using is someone who's between 40-1 and 99-1, and then a Heisman super long shot, 100-1 or more. We'll each wind up drafting 4 players. But guys, before we start, I think a defining thing about this college football season that is going to affect this Heisman draft, but also how we're viewing the sport, Andy. Major teams that I think we're expecting to have starting quarterbacks who have never really started before.
Yes.
Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Texas, even though Arch Manning started 1 game and is famous.
2 games.
Michigan, Ole Miss, and then Dante Moore at Oregon, who started 5 games at UCLA 2 years ago. We're coming out of a very veteran quarterback era, and we have some veteran quarterbacks at Penn State and Clemson and places like that, but that's a lot of blue bloods with new dudes running the show.
Well, I saw Bill Connolly from ESPN, his S&P Plus rankings, the top 6, Drew Aller's the only returning starting quarterback. So it's not there actually are a ton of veteran quarterbacks in the country this year. There's a bunch in the Big 12. There's actually a bunch in the SEC, but they're just not at the top end national title contender type teams.
Ari, how does that affect your view of something like this Heisman draft? And how does it affect your view of who you think the best teams in the country are going to be?
The Heisman draft is difficult because you always have the inherent thought of like, can I draft somebody who's not a quarterback, right? Like you always go like, will somebody who's not a quarterback win? And when you look at the landscape of college football this year, there are so many interesting established quarterbacks like on all the teams. Because even if you go through the Big 12, they've got a lot of really good starting quarterbacks. Like, can you in good faith even select somebody who doesn't play quarterback right now as a long shot? Because they're
also a non-quarterback just won. So probability tells us it will be a quarterback this time.
Yeah, which is why Bill's going to take Coy Parrish as his number 1 pick.
Coy Parrish is not a terrible pick. I'm not going to lie to you. That dude is very, very good.
I was just trying to figure out which offensive lineman I could take and not get laughed at.
Isaiah World for Heisman starting here on KOTN.
Francis Maui Noah, pick number 1.
Francis Maui Noah is a good choice. Spencer Fano from Utah. Come on.
He actually has that like dynamic singing ability too. That could help with
Spencer Fano has big personality. So maybe his Instagram.
You know, Doug, I don't know if you know this, but like him and I get into a head-to-head clash all the time about like my voting practices. And the thing that is interesting about this entire dynamic is that like a lot of the way that I view my job in the sport is inherited from you. So like you guys should fight about it. It's kind of your fault.
The narrative.
Like the story of the season stuff he hates.
Well, it's stupid because he left Jaden Daniels off his ballot and Jaden Daniels was the best player.
Yeah, but Well, that's not what we're here to do. It's the greatest award in North American sports.
I just wanted to watch you two yell at
the
each
most
other.
excellent player, no matter what
it's for the most outstanding player. It's right there on the trophy.
The last 3 years, the top 10 guys to finish in the Heisman, so these 30 players, 20 of the 30 were quarterbacks the last 3 years. How many years they were a starter, right? In the year they were a top 10 Heisman finisher? 3 of those 20 quarterbacks were fifth-year starters. 7 were fourth-year starters. 1 was a third-year starter. 7 were second-year starters. And only 2 guys who were first-year starting quarterbacks finished in the top 10 in the Heisman voting the last 2 years. Now, Caleb Williams was had started half a year before, but he wasn't like a newbie when he won the Heisman.
He was the clear starting quarterback coming into the year. There was no fake competition.
And he'd had experiences in big games. He had come in the Texas game, right? Drake May, 3 years ago, finished 10th, and 2 years ago, Jalen Milroe finished 6th. So, for instance, Bill, last year, I can't remember who it was that I picked to win the Heisman. Was it Jackson Arnold?
At this time last year,
down the hall.
It was
Jackson Arnold, who lost his job and transferred, and his coach at Oklahoma was about to get fired. I picked him to win the Heisman because I was still living in the. Remember when Bryce Young won the Heisman as a first-year starting quarterback? It's going to be really funny when I picked Jackson Arnold
in this draft.
Yeah, but now it would actually make much more sense because he's more experienced. So now I'm scared off of first-year starting quarterbacks, which would rule out for me CJ Carr and Julian Sayin and Ty Simpson and Gunnar Stockton, right? Does it make sense to be scared off from that? Or were we in a weird COVID-caused veteran quarterback window that has now closed, and we are now opening the door for, hey, there's a bunch of great teams with first-year starting quarterbacks. There's some Heisman picks in there.
I think it's closing. I think maybe it's still slightly open. I kind of view the two conversations separately. For the Heisman, I'm not so much scared off of picking a young guy.
Okay.
When I'm thinking about who's going to win the national championship, and I think about the last 4 teams to play, Will Howard was old, Riley Leonard was old, J.J. McCarthy was a third-year but a second-year starter, and then Michael Penix was super old. Like that, I think about the quarterback position that when I'm thinking for a champion, but not so much for the Heisman. I think I'm okay going with a young guy. And I do think the sport is maybe slightly shifting back toward the world where we did see a younger.
Well, I think 2020 kind of changed the way I look at it too a little bit, because Devontae Smith was clearly the best player in the country that year. I just wasn't sure the electorate was going to recognize that.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they're just going to pick Mac Jones just because he's the one throwing all those passes. Right. But very clearly the electorate said, no, we recognize that Devontae Smith is the reason this offense works the way it does. So that brings me to another receiver named Smith.
Yeah.
Where Jeremiyah Smith is so dynamic and will dictate so much of what happens for Ohio State's offense, even when he's not catching the ball. I'm curious to see. And look, I know he's a favorite on almost every sports book. So, but how much will people realize? Like, will Julian Sayin actually be in the mix, or will people say no? That's Jeremiyah Smith.
And who's the Heisman candidate for Ohio State? Who would be the Heisman candidate if Oregon's good? Is it going to be Dante Moore, or would it be Mekhi Hughes? Right? Like if Notre Dame's good,
I think
is
it's
it
easier
CJ
with a running
Carr,
back
or is it Jeremiah Love?
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's easier with a running back and a quarterback because they do different things.
Yeah.
And like you can tell when a running back is carrying the load. When Derrick Henry won the Heisman for Alabama, he was the whole offense. I mean, it didn't work without him. Like especially down the stretch, that Auburn game. If there's no Derrick Henry, they don't win that game.
Right. Ari, so we have Travis Hunter winning it last year as a different kind of dude. Devontae Smith as a receiver a couple years ago when receivers have had trouble winning it. Aiden Hutchinson finished second to Bryce Young, was the engine of that Michigan playoff team. We've had a lot of conversations over the years. Are voters getting smarter? Like if Landis wants to take an offensive lineman in this draft, could that make more sense than it used to because more voters realize offensive linemen exist?
My hope is that they're getting smarter. My number one thing with this has always been resentment towards people who just go, who had the best stats, and then just pick that person based on that. And that last year, I wonder if like Travis Hunter had the same exact year last year as this year, and there were just other quarterbacks to choose from. If they would have been smart enough to sift through that, I think he was a benefit of being the best player overall last year, but also not having a lot of slam dunk quarterback, adversaries.
There was nobody with Johnny Manziel type numbers.
Yeah. Or, there was just no natural fit there. So I think that his Heisman victory kind of came at the right time. I would be very wary of choosing him to win in this climate. Like, I don't think that, like, Jeremiah Smith to me is a bona fide Heisman winner, like, in most years. And, like, I don't know if that would be a good use of a pick in this year's draft, even though I think he's the best player in the sport.
All right, Landis, can you explain what we're going to do here, and we'll start our draft?
You already did explain it. Yeah, we're picking 4 guys, 2 presumably like from among the favorites. I guess they don't have to be. Just 2 guys you like the most. 1 mid-tier, 4 plus 4,000, 2 plus 99999, and then 1 plus 10,000 or worse, 100 to 1 or worse for a super long shot.
We'll snake draft it.
We'll snake draft it. Yeah. I want to say because I looked up last year. I was looking at an article. I think we were using the BetMGM odds from last year. So like Travis Hunter was 50 to 1 this time last year. Dylan Gabriel, who finished 3rd, was the favorite at 700 to 1. Among the guys who finished in the top 5 of the voting, the only other player who was even in the top 40 odds at this time last year was Cam Ward. 6 of the 10 who finished, 6 of the top 10 Heisman guys weren't among the top 40 odds coming into last season.
I did something on this for a column for On 3 and saw the craziest one. In 2020, at this point, going into the season, now they were trying to decide if they're going to play games or not. Jamie Newman was plus 1,000. This was the Wake Forest quarterback who was transferring to Georgia, who opted out and never played it down for Georgia. He was plus 1,000.
Nice. We have the 16 guys who are 30 to 1 or better odds, like this group of 16 favorites. It doesn't mean you have to pick, but these are the guys that would be in the favorite category. Arch Manning is the Heisman favorite, 7 to 1. Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, Cade Klubnik, Jeremiah Smith, Drew Aller, Ty Simpson from Alabama, Julian Sand from Ohio State, John Mateer from Oklahoma, DJ Lagway from Florida, Dante Moore from Oregon, Lenore Sellers from South Carolina. Who's this next? Austin Simmons from Ole Miss, Sam Levitt from Arizona State. What's my handwriting there?
CJ
Carr from Notre Dame, Carson Beck from Miami, and Kevin Jennings from SMU.
Interestingly enough, like you can get, it depends on your book, but there are books that have Austin Simmons at plus 4,000. There are books right now that have CJ Carr
at plus 4,500. We did something similar to this on our show, and I'm looking at the odds right now, and the odds on here are very different than the ones that we went off of.
Yeah.
And it's like Ty Simpson in our draft was like a major long shot. Okay. And like here, he's like the 5th most likely.
Translation, nobody knows.
Yeah. Well, and it's, I mean, when you have quarterback battles at Blue Bloods, because it still remains the best Heisman candidate, the most likely one is the quarterback of the best team.
Right.
But when you don't even know who the quarterback's going to be, and then you're trying to figure out who the best team's going to be, that's hard.
And Alabama's roster's loaded. But the question is it Ty Simpson at the end of the year, or is it Keelan Russell at the end of the year?
Right. So, and no matter what, and no matter how advanced we are as voters, we're still not going to give the Heisman to an Alabama linebacker. Right. Like we're probably not there.
Dante Hightower's oh.
So the quarterback matters. What if we started with, to keep it, if you're watching on YouTube, we could go down and back.
Okay.
And give Landis the first pick, and then I'll wrap around.
He is the most handsome man up here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Is that okay with you?
It's also an age order, I think.
Should we generate or should we go in order?
It is age order. He is the youngest.
We'll just go in age order.
Age before beauty. Yeah. Or wait, beauty for. Wait,
you're the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
All right, we'll go young to old. All right, that's good enough. So Landis is going to have the first pick.
Doug wanted to finagle the 2 picks.
We're making 12 picks.
He's trying to
total.
do you a
Doug, you're older.
16
Doug, you're older than 31.
I could be the father of people on this show right now, so let's not talk about it too much. All right, Landis, you have the first pick, and you don't have to go with the favorite. You can go. No little chit chat. Now Landis and Ari are having like their own little chat. You have microphones in your hand.
I like it here. I also love this. You got the Andy and Ari on 3 crew. We've got our phones. Maybe we're on the correct page. Maybe not. These guys have meticulous handwritten notes.
Yeah.
The Kings of the North. This is why they are kings and we are paupers.
Also, too, one time when I was dating my now wife, I was in a situation where she was in the same room as one of my ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
And I handled it very poorly. So I'm trying my best to like not. Yeah. It didn't go well for me that night.
Okay. So first pick for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick my long shot first.
Okay. This is your super long
so
shot.
Happy that Landis always has to do the weird
thing. The swerve. Okay. Always has to swerve. You can have Arch. I'm going to take Darian Mensah, quarterback from Duke.
Can I ask you just a question? and I don't know that that's
He
a
did it
bad
before I
pick
could.
or that. But what makes you think that had to happen right now?
What makes you think the Duke quarterback will win the
Like with the number one overall pick?
We know that Darian Mensah is a very good quarterback, and NFL scouts love him.
But I guess if we were trying to score this, and maybe we'll go back at the end, I think like you'll get points if a guy finishes in the top 10, right? So do you really think Darian Mensah could win the Heisman?
He doesn't play basketball
value because he might finish
I know he doesn't
fourth.
play basketball. No, I think he probably more realistically can certainly finish in the top 10. I think he can go to. I think Duke's gonna be good this year, and I think he's the reason why. Like I have Duke in the playoff. The last playoff picks, I had
got to beat Tulane.
So you get extra
be
points
Tulane.
if you're a long shot at the end. So,
So, I
I
mean,
can understand that. I guess.
Well, I don't know if you get extra. Well, yeah, we're just trying to maybe pick a guy who's going to finish in the top 10. I mean, only one guy's going to win the Heisman, but you get
for
more
me,
points
the
for that.
calculus is like there are a handful of guys I'd be happy to have like among the favorites. There are a couple in the mid tier that I'd be happy to have.
You think he's the best?
When I look at the long shots, it's like that's my guy.
I honestly,
I didn't want to.
I don't think there's a lot of difference between a lot of these favorites and long shots.
Yeah, that too.
That's the other
Yeah,
thing.
but also if you're scoring it too, it's like if your long shot makes it to the top 10, you should get more points than if my favorite
Well,
makes it.
it's not about scoring system. It's
Yeah,
just about
yeah,
ball.
yeah.
But like
Yeah.
Max Duggan finished second in the Heisman as a TCU quarterback.
Correct.
Right.
And so like that's the case.
Yeah.
Max Duggan had played, but nobody really knew who he was. And then his team was good and he finished second in the Heisman.
Yeah.
Darian Mensah's played. There's not a lot of Duke people banging the drum for football right now, but if they're 11-1,
He's a dynamic.
Right.
player.
They
He
won
can
9
run.
games last year with Malik Murphy at QB and then upgraded at QB.
yeah.
Right. And
So-
bring a lot of that team back and have a very good offensive line. Yeah. I think like his running ability can captivate people. And I think Duke will be a team that is in the playoff conveation for most of the season, even if they don't make it.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. All right. Your pick.
Okay, I'm going to
number
take
2.
Arch Manning.
There you go.
I mean, I think I might even bet my life that he'll finish in the top 10 of the Heisman voting. Like, I don't even know. Like, outside of injury.
You'll bet your life.
I was going to say, what if he gets hurt?
Yeah.
Like, if he gets hurt, but I have a theory that Arch Manning is almost negged because people are tired of hearing his last name.
Yeah.
I almost think that his last name works against him, like in the fan discourse right now of how good is he going to be, because people are tired of hearing he's the greatest thing without ever him producing. But I think in this specific discussion, if Arch Manning is ever going to benefit on his name and his story, that it's not just production, like he's a Manning, like that voters are going to be moved by that. I guarantee it. So in the system that he's in, the team that he has around him, even if he is an 80% of himself in terms of what I think he could be in that offense, he's going to be a highly productive Manning on a playoff team. Like it's just a layup.
Any worries about first-year starting quarterback?
No.
Okay.
I think it's a relative lock that he will be highly productive for a team that is going to be in the playoff picture in November.
Is he so famous that the bar for production is lower? Like
The bar is higher.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I think it's lower because I think people will automatically recognize
Oh, you took
Manning
for the Heisman.
for the Heisman.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
I think that the bar for him being a success in terms of how we remember him in 5 years might be different. But I think that he has an advantage. If the starting line is here, he's 5 steps ahead, I think, because of his name. I think that perception right now, he's behind because of his name, but I think in voting, he's going to be ahead.
Okay. Andy, who are you taking?
Jeremiyah Smith. If the award is for the most outstanding player, I will take the
Here we go
guy
again.
that every coach in America will tell you is the most outstanding player and who they would take over everybody else.
Do you think like what Devontae Smith showed, the fact that Travis Hunter was half a receiver last year, are people opening their minds to
I
voting
think
for
so.
a receiver?
And it's like we were talking about before. If you can tell the receiver is the reason, Devontae Smith, it was clear he was the reason. Which is interesting.
Yes.
The same year you had Kyle Trask as a Heisman finalist when it probably should have been Kyle Pitts from his team, his same team. So, but I think Jeremiyah, especially, everyone recognizes how good he is. Everyone watched the playoffs. He's going to put up good numbers. Will he put up good enough numbers to win the Heisman? I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of it will depend on Ohio State's defense. If Ohio State's defense is good, then he's probably not going to have to put up massive numbers. But he's so good that, let's say they get in some shootouts,
Yeah.
he's going to go bananas.
Yeah.
The thing I fear with him is that if every single team that Ohio State plays sells out to stop him, if he's going to have too many games where Carnell Tate has 160 yards and he has 5 receptions
I'm
for
not
17
even sure
yards.
you can do that with what they have around.
I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr., the first year he played in year 2 in college football was amazing. And then the next year, he was statistically about like as good. He didn't make a leap because, Bill, that kind of did happen. You can't take him away.
His quarterback play got worse too.
True.
Yeah.
But and that's
Kyle
part of
McCord
it.
catches strays.
You don't
Sorry.
you don't know what Ohio State's quarterback play is going to be, which again affects all of
It's
this.
going to be throw it to number 4.
It's going to be a more passing oriented offense.
Damn it,
too,
throw
I
it to
think.
number 4.
Their rush rate was like 54%, which is one of the higher
Well, how
ones
many
Ryan
teams-
Day's had. They'll throw it more.
How many
next
teams
year.
on Ohio State's schedule can effectively do the game plan that Texas did? Maybe not that many.
Not
right? 'Cause
many.
Texas has really good players.
Yeah.
But-
Texas had NFL starters in the secondary,
Mhm.
whereas most of the teams they play will not have all NFL starters in the secondary.
He's also going to have highlight reel stuff too. I think that matters.
Yeah.
Defenses will have a plan for him, and Ohio State will have a plan back.
They're going to handle
Yeah.
the ball off some too. Like
Yeah.
you can do that.
I'm really excited, and I think this got to be this year because this entire event next year is going to be why is Jeremiah Smith still have to play college football?
Yeah.
So
Right. Okay. So Arch Manning, by the odds we're looking at, is the favorite at 7-1. Already took him. Jeremiah Smith is the 4th favorite at 13-1. I will now take the guy that at the moment I think would be like my actual pick to win the Heisman, and that's Cade Klubnik from Clemson.
that is a good pick because he's going to put up big numbers. They're going to have a really good team. They're going to be in the mix for the ACC title. They're going to be in the mix for the playoff, and he can do it with his legs too. We learned last year because I don't think we knew that.
And if you're looking again, like third-year starting quarterbacks at their own school, it's Drew Aller at Penn State, it's Cade Klubnik at Clemson, Luke Altmaier at Illinois, Rocco Becht at Iowa State, Baron Morton at Texas Tech. Like there's not a million. And
No.
then there's some other, Fernando Mendoza's will be his third year as a starter, but he's a transfer. Carson Beck at Miami will be his third year as a starter, but he's a transfer. That there's not a ton of guys there. I think Klubnik and Aller kind of separate themselves. Again, if you care at all about the fact that veteran quarterbacks have been like kind of the biggest thing in the Heisman race the last 3 years, as we talked about off the top. So Klubnik for me. Did anyone else think about taking Klubnik?
We did a production draft where it wasn't Heisman, but we did a quarterback production
It's like a
draft
fantasy
last week
draft, yeah.
for fantasy stats. And Klubnik was my number 1 overall pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think when you look at the fact that Clemson's probably a virtual lock to make the playoff one way or the other this year, the fact that he played his best football the second half of the last season and like he found his running ability, because people love running stats too. Like I think he's an underrated runner. I think I was hoping, and I didn't know if it would get past Andy, that he would fall back to me because that would have definitely been the pick if he came here.
Yeah, no, it would not have gotten past me.
And you like Clemson this year, Bill?
Yeah, I think we haven't put it down in ink yet, but I think Clemson's my national championship pick, and I would have Klubnik is a guy. If I had to pick a winner, that's who I'd pick. Right
Okay.
now. Yeah.
So then, as we wrap around here, my next pick, I'll take my mid-tier long shot, and I'll take Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame at 40-1.
Very good pick.
That I think Notre Dame is going to be in the thick of the playoff race and national title picture the entire year, and with a first-year starting quarterback in CJ Carr, a lot of guys back on the offensive line. I think Jeremiah Love will be the engine of that team, and he might be the engine of a team that is like undefeated number 1 at the end of the regular season when people are voting for the Heisman.
And Jeremiah Love can do the home run thing. The Indiana game last year, good example, was a 98-yard touchdown. And then he can do the highlight reel thing. That the 1-yard touchdown against Penn State was one of the most beautiful touchdowns I've ever seen in my life. So because you kind of need those things. You need those types of highlights that they can show over and over again. And I think you're right, Doug, that he can be the engine of the offense because their defense is going to be good and they're not going to require CJ Carr to get into shootouts.
Yeah.
I'm a little scared off of Jeremiah Love because I wonder about the running back blueprint that Ohio State used last year because Jadarian Price is still in Notre Dame's back. He's also a pretty good running back. Are they just going to try to limit Jeremiah Love's touches? Because it's also a schedule that might lend itself to that.
Well, and especially
he also was banged up in the playoff.
He was hurt at the end of last
Yeah,
year
yeah,
for them to say we don't want to go do that.
He's absolutely the best running back in the country, I think. I just don't know if voters are going to be discerning enough to sort of look past what will be lower traditional Heisman running back stats to see like an excellent player.
Okay, Andy, your pick.
Well, I thought I'd go deep now, but you left another favorite that I think is going to reliably put up numbers. And the last time a person has been in this position, the last 2 times actually, they've won the Heisman Trophy. I'll take Garrett Nussmeier from LSU.
Oozing Nuss.
This guy hates Garrett Nussmeier.
Garrett Nussmeier.
I don't know Garrett Nussmeier. I don't know anything about LSU. the conversation around Garrett Nussmeier versus the conversation around like other people.
Here's the thing: Garrett Nussmeier is not going to have what Jaden Daniels had and Joe Burrow had, wherein they had 2 first-round receivers they were playing with. Garrett Nussmeier is probably not going to have that. LSU, it does have some good receivers, but I don't think it will be that lopsided in terms of what he has to throw to.
I feel like Garrett Nussmeier is in the Carson Beck position from a year ago. And the Carson Beck.
No. Garrett Nussmeier was asked to carry LSU last year. They abandoned the run game at the worst possible times.
He had some goofy games last year.
I think it would help Garrett Nussmeier actually if they would let the run game get established. But he'll throw. I mean, there are going to be games where they haven't thrown 50 times, and he's going to throw a bunch of touchdown passes. So
this is the most nuss we've ever nussed on this show.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
because in your head, like Garrett Nussmeier gets more praise than somebody like Rocco Becht would.
Yes,
he's just like the stand-in for Doug for like puffed up SEC quarterback.
Who was it last year?
Carson Beck.
Oh, Carson Beck. That's right.
I don't think he's the puffed up one. I really think he actually was relied upon too much last year, and that was the problem.
Yeah.
We'll see after like Cade Klubnik throws for 511 on LSU in week 1, and they destroy LSU.
Well, that's
we'll see what Garrett Nussmeier's Heisman case is.
That Clemson defense, maybe the best defense he has to play
exactly.
Raise your hand if you're sitting on a 22-1 Clemson ticket right now. That's me right here. Did you do it?
All right, your pick.
By the way, can't believe this happened. Almost was my first pick. DJ Lagway. Give him to me. You want to do the alien discussion.
Stay away from the Homer thing.
No, I know, but like, come on. How am I getting DJ Lagway here? And I know that like we want to be cute and get our long shots.
I'm worried about DJ Lagway because you gotta play like 11 or 12 games to win the Heisman. That's my concern.
If the one negative thing that you can say about somebody is you're afraid he's going to get injured, that's probably a pretty good spot. I think that there's a lot of people out there, and Andy has seen this up close and personal too, that don't understand the praise that he's getting. I think that it's within the realm of possibility, and maybe notwithstanding with Jeremiyah Smith, that at the end of this season, DJ Lagway is by far the best player in the sport. Like, I don't know if I'm over, like, just the physical traits.
It's certainly
insane.
It is possible.
Again, soft tissue injuries happen quite frequently, it seems. But if he can remain healthy, and Florida's a 9-3 team, and he balls out, like, I don't know.
Oh, he's in the mix for sure.
And like, to get him here, I think it's tremendous value. I think I might, if I wasn't afraid of injury and I could just pick one quarterback in the entire sport to build my team around, it would be DJ Lagway out of everyone. And that's saying something in this year. And then maybe I'll look nuts, but that's how I feel about him.
Nussmeier 8-1, second favorite behind Arch off the board. Lagway 20-1, one of the guys in the favorite category.
Do you have Florida in the playoff?
I don't know. Not right now.
It's close.
I think I do.
Yeah.
But if they make the playoff and he does alien things, we're going to be having a conversation about this at the end of the year. I'll gladly
Florida
take
LSU in week 3 is going to tell us an awful lot.
Yeah. All right. 2 for me.
2 for you.
I'll take Drew Aller. He doesn't like have the skill set necessarily that screams Heisman quarterback to me, but he's going to be so scrutinized, have a ton of eyeballs on him that if he does take that next step, I think he'll be fairly productive. I could see him getting to New York at the very least, especially if Penn State's going to beat Oregon and remain in that national championship conversation the entire year. I think like the second year in that offense with Andy Koltonicki, the receivers I think are just significantly better at Penn State than they were a year ago. There are a lot of things for me lining up that I do think Drew Aller is going to take that next step. So I'll take him now, and then I will take Dante Moore.
Good. Very good one.
Okay.
I think so. The last 2 guys who had that job went to New York as Oregon starting quarterback, and I was like between Dante Moore and Julian Sayin, but the thing that scares me off Sayin is that Jeremiyah Smith is so famous that if Sayin could throw 40 touchdowns, people are just like, yeah, because of Jeremiyah Smith.
That's why I picked Jeremiyah Smith.
That doesn't exist for Oregon because people aren't thinking about the Corey and Moore that way. Evan Store's probably not going to play this year, but the receivers there are still good.
Yeah.
Kenyon Sadiq at tight end is awesome. Mekhi Hughes at running back is good. That offensive line should be good. And it's an offense that knows how to get quarterback production. So.
I do wonder if like DeCorian Moore by week 6 is viewed the way that Jeremiyah Smith was last year in week 6.
He and Ryan, I think he could be different players. Like he's not as big and physical.
Well, Ryan Williams though had the huge pop actually tailed off at the end of the season.
He did.
It was weird as Cam Coleman got better.
Right.
Who's the third freak receiver of that bunch?
Speak of the devil.
Ryan Williams. Oh,
Yeah.
are we going Auburn? Are we? No,
Yeah.
I doesn't.
No,
Landis
no,
has
no,
another
So,
pick.
I took Aller and Dante Moore.
So those
Okay,
are two
all right,
favorites
all
for
right.
Bill.
yeah.
Yep.
So
I'm struggling with
Drew
this.
Aller is 16-1. Dante Moore is 25-1.
I'm gonna go my off the rails pick now.
Mhm.
Long, and this is a long shot.
So this is your plus.
This is my plus $1 million pick.
Okay.
Cam Coleman would be my guy, and
Oh,
I
we are
don't
going
know
Auburn,
if this
okay.
is a bad pick because you said his name and it scared me. I wanted to take him.
I was
in my-
not going
my
to take
last
Cam
pick.
Coleman. You don't have to worry about that. So
I think that Cam Coleman is an absolute dog, and I feel like if he would have even had remote competent quarterback play a year ago, he would be in the
Does he have it
discussion.
now?
Somebody going to take Jackson Arnold? I don't know. We'll
no,
see.
I don't think anybody's going to take
I-
Jackson Arnold. Maybe.
I think that
Doug's
if-
looking him up.
I mean,
Not
he's,
again.
he's right in the middle there. I mean, he would be. I don't know that he has gotten the respect that he deserves as a player. He's been overshadowed by the other two freshmen that were in his class. I'm obsessed with him.
It's a good player.
I'm
I just-
obsessed with
yeah.
him
Because it took
I-
him a while to get going. It wasn't.
Yeah.
You saw it late last season. You saw it in the Texas A&M game.
And
for
listen,
example.
you know, you're picking somebody who's 250-1. Like, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, no.
But
it's-
you know, I feel like I wanted to make a point that he was every bit as interesting to me as a freshman receiver, and Auburn stunk last year and had all these Hugh Freeze throw under the bus comments that distracted you from the actual production. He was highly productive, and he's a freak too. So I could see if Auburn has, because we talked about Auburn being a potential dark horse for the
Sure.
playoff this year.
they're very
If
talented.
he has 12 touchdowns in week 9, like, I think we might be in an interesting. I
Yeah.
think you would. I think that he will have better odds in
Keldrick
November
Falk,
than he
though,
does
might
now.
be the household name out of
Yeah.
Auburn at the edge rusher, but probably not going to be the Heisman.
Is that way off?
conversation.
You're off the radar for you?
We have not quite gotten to the Auburn as a playoff dark horse conversation on this show
Yeah.
yet.
Oh, they're very talented.
Well, there's a few in the SEC that can go in two directions, and if they
Yeah.
go in the other one, I don't want to talk about because I'm thinking about somebody. But
yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
Andy, your pick.
Doug has Andy on the show, so you have to have Auburn in the playoff at some point in the Kings of the North.
Exactly. I'm going to go with one that in most years you would never get this person as a long shot, but I get Georgia's starting quarterback as a long shot, Gunnar Stockton. They upgraded their receivers.
They
So
did.
Noah Thomas from Texas A&M. They got Zachariah Branch from USC. I don't know that he's going to have a great year, but if he does, well, they're going to be in the playoff. They'll certainly be in the discussion for the SEC championship, the national championship. And if his numbers are good, he'll be in New York. So why not at 400 to 1
Yeah. No, I mean, that's
I
or
don't
40
know.
to 1, excuse me.
I have
40 to
I have no concept of what Gunnar Stockton is as a player. Is he just like
He's from Tiger, Georgia.
what was the conversation?
Very
The
soft-spoken.
cover 3 guys used to have a conversation. Was like fighter pilot or bus driver.
Yeah, no,
It's truck trailer.
Yeah.
Truck or trailer.
Yeah, it's
right.
Daniel Jeremiah.
He's
Yeah.
a trailer, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
think? He looked like a truck
He did.
with the way the teammates were rallying around him. He did not look like a truck in the Notre Dame
Yeah, I'm
game.
more concerned about whether he looked like a truck while playing football. But
Yeah.
I
No,
don't know.
he was. Look, he got thrown in the Texas game, didn't go. But I'm telling you, if you can give me Georgia's starting quarterback at 40 to 1, because I have to take somebody 40 to 1 or higher, the group of these people that is most
Yeah.
likely to land in New York is the Georgia starting quarterback.
right. That just, good team. The quarterback of the good team makes sense. So I have 2 picks now, right? I
Yep.
have another favorite and I have a super long shot. Is that correct?
That is
Yeah.
correct.
So I will take my super long shot and I will take Mekhi Hughes from
Oh,
Oregon.
It's good. It's a good pick.
And it is
Damn it.
the same. It's the same conversation as Jeremiah Love, which is young quarterback. What will probably be a very good team is the running back, the engine of the offense. And Mekhi Hughes at Tulane, I think he is the leading returning guy, yards from scrimmage in the country.
Yeah.
And so you put that in there. You've seen, and I think he's probably a little bit of an upgrade from Jordan
I think he's
James,
better
who was
than
a
Jordan
very
James,
good player, right? So I think you have a real opportunity there for him to, like, what if Mekhi Hughes goes to Penn State and runs for 180 and 3 touchdowns, right? Like he's going to jump. He's going to
Yeah.
jump in the top of that race. So for a long shot, I think he's 120 to 1. I'll take that. And then I have another favorite to take, but I'm not going to take someone who's technically in the favorite category because I would rather throw this microphone in the frickin' ocean then pick another SEC quarterback. My skin is crawling.
We got to commit to the bit here. He hasn't like the little chip in his head went off. I haven't done the I hate the South bit in a minute.
We had like a list as SEC.
We had like a back-to-back. We went Garrett Nussmeier, DJ Lagway, and that was like a 7-minute conversation about SEC quarterbacks on this show. I couldn't breathe. I'll take Devin Dampier at 50-1. So, but I'll take him as a favorite because he's the Northern John Mateer. And John Mateer is 20-1 at a place where people think the coach is going to get fired. And I think a lot of people believe that Utah, we're not going back to there. They're in a map. Andy's like, I see snow. That's the South to me. I think who do you think is going to be better this year as a football team? Utah or Oklahoma?
John Mateer didn't get picked at all. That's crazy.
I would take Utah. So I'll take their quarterback. And I think a lot of the rest of the conversation is very similar. And he's
Devin Dampier,
both of them went from a program. They're bringing their OC to go revolutionize an offense at a place that's used to winning.
But John Mateer can throw a lot better. But Devin Dampier is going to run for a lot of touchdowns.
Devin Dampier,
and
he's like,
I think Utah is going to win a lot of games. I think Utah is going to win the league. So I get that. And so you could have a ton of production. Because I do think he's going to be able to throw to wide open receivers because people are going to be so scared of what they can do on the ground.
Yeah, good running back there with him too. And again, like the new OC, I think there's a lot of potential with Utah. So
I was scared off of Dampier because I've played the NCAA game with Utah and the receivers don't get open.
Oh, okay. Which just means he'll run. All right. So my 4 picks are in. Andy, you got one more.
All right. So I was going to take Mekhi Hughes for my 100-1 or more. So I am scrambling now. But here's my thing. You want the narrative? I'll give you the narrative because I basically have to build a story as to how this will happen. If this person is really, really good, his team is probably going to the playoff, will probably stun some teams along the way, and it will be because of him.
No, it is.
Mark Gronowski, Iowa quarterback.
Landis is nodding. Landis is nodding.
That's a good pick. Yeah.
I've been dying to see competent quarterback play at Iowa, and I think we're probably going to get to see that. Is he going to be a superstar put up here? Probably not. But what if he's good?
Yeah.
It's Iowa's making the playoff because of him.
Yeah, because I think the defense replaces a lot, but it's an Iowa defense. I'm not worried about it. Right?
Yeah.
It's just like I actually think with the right quarterback, the receivers aren't awful.
Right. They have not had someone who could get them the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Back to Ricky Stanzi, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'd go CJ Beathard.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are more people in the 40-1 to 99-1 range available right now than I thought that are attractive to me. And I think I'm probably just going to do something cool and give an ode to the North here.
Oh, no.
Dylan Raiola is my pick.
Okay.
He's going to learn how to pronounce his name too.
Raiola. Yeah. You know what? If it's spelled away, that you're the peril of you spelling your name improper. Like that's on you, not me.
It's not,
you know what
medium.
I mean? Like it's Railoa, right?
Right.
It's okay. It's a football show. You can talk about ball.
I struggle with that, Doug. 5-star guy who goes home. You want narrative too. We've kind of forgotten a little bit about him because there are certain things in his game that I think are troublesome. His inability last year to evade pressure is something I can't not see every time I watch him play. But if you want to go down the Iowa path of competent quarterback play, they can make the playoff. I think Nebraska's schedule sets up pretty nicely for them to potentially be.
Yeah.
If he's an absolute dog, people know who he is. He's at a place that's dying to win. They have a schedule that I think sets up in a way that they can get some quality wins that aren't gonna kill them. If I like where Nebraska sits as a team right now.
And because the way we are in sports, if he did not play at all, people might be more excited about him. If he was Julian Sand,
right?
He's a 5-star who sat and learned behind a veteran.
He got thrown in as a true freshman, had the typical true freshman.
Yeah,
there were times last year where people said he's the best downfield passer Nebraska's ever had, like in week 4.
But who's actually more prepped for this season, Dylan Raiola or Julian Sand?
Right.
Yeah,
he knows exactly.
Or CJ Carr. He's played a full year.
He started a game at Ohio State.
Yeah,
where his team actually played really well.
Almost won 65-1 on a former 5-star quarterback that could have gone to Georgia or Ohio State, who's at a place that is dying to win, has a good schedule.
They've upgraded around him too.
They upgrade around him. He kind of has that Mahomes thing that people
linemen.
talk about. He has the story. Like I could talk myself into him being in New York.
I like it.
It's a good pick. So last pick for me, I need a mid-tier guy. I am also taking a Northern quarterback. I am taking DeMond Williams.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Washington.
That was the other one.
I know. I was nervous you were going to take him. He's an electric player, to steal your word. Electric. We were talking about Washington on one of our shows, and I just like, regardless of what they do this season in the Big Ten, they are dangerous. I think in the Big Ten, but they could be something better than that. Like I think Washington could be like that fourth kind of playoff dark horse coming out of the Big Ten.
I mean, they played in the national title game 2 years
ago.
ago.
I know, but they fell off the radar.
But this is a program that is usually very good. They had some down periods, but really since Peterson got there, you had Peterson, DeBoer, and I think Jed Fish is a very good coach. Like
they have a history beyond that.
Don James. Exactly. So I think DeMond Williams is going to be a lot of fun. Because it wasn't his. They lost the 2 starts he had last year because their defense was terrible. It wasn't because of him, and the defense should be better this year.
I think he kind of had the perfect freshman season too, where like not too much was placed upon him. He got to play a decent amount. And they got to start the bowl game. And learn and grow.
Yeah. He played good against. His numbers were good against Oregon. Now they were out of the game because they couldn't stop Oregon. But he against a very good Oregon defense was very sharp.
Yeah, and he's got Denzel Boston to throw too. Jonah Coleman's great at running back. Their O-line will be better this year.
I don't know if it was one of the Ohio State Oklahoma games that we covered together, but you said in an affectionate way that Baker Mayfield plays like a psychopath. You remember this?
Crazy person,
psychopath, whatever the word is. And the thing with the Heisman that I always wonder, and why I almost took John Mateer, and I think it's weird that no one did, is that do you have to play in the Heisman discussion, not necessarily the national title discussion? Do you want an element of plays like a psychopath?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
I don't think it's a requirement, but I think it helps a lot.
So that's why.
Here's the Mateer fear. The last 7 games of the schedule. Like if it goes badly at Oklahoma, it will go terribly. And then he's just done.
But
so
DeMond Williams has that psychopathic type game, doesn't he, a little bit?
Yeah, he's going to run around a lot. He'll turn his back to the defense.
You want somebody whose back is to the defense at some points, and then it makes a play. That's the moment, the Heisman moment. You want a psychopath moment.
So those are our 16 picks, and there's one guy that I am very shocked didn't get picked.
Lenora Sellers.
Oh, that's true. But that was the rules.
Yeah, the rules.
That's true. He was not one of the 8 favorites.
Yeah.
So okay.
Because he's another one where South Carolina could be as good or better, but could be 8-4.
Yeah.
Is there any what's the chance that this is the year, like the Lamar Jackson year, where the Heisman winner is not on the team that's in a championship?
I mean, that's what Travis Hunter was.
Yeah.
But
like you got to be a unicorn.
Yeah.
But even to a certain extent, they were 1 win away from being in the playoff last year, so they weren't completely out of it.
Well, and Lamar Jackson, remember that year he won the Heisman. If they win at Clemson and there was a very close call on the sideline, like they might win the ACC. So it wasn't. They weren't that.
I think
far
your
off.
team has to be good, but like most of the time, you have to be like in the race for the national championship, unless you're a guy like you. We never seen.
They had that weird November Thursday night loss at Houston that you thought might disqualify him, but didn't.
So, but I mean, I think there's some roll of the dice guys here that have the ability to be a unicorn. Avery Johnson, who also didn't get picked.
Fernando Mendoza wasn't picked either.
Fernando Mendoza is really interesting because I think Indiana's going to be good.
Yeah.
And I think he may be asked to do more than Curtis Rourke did.
I think he would be. Yeah.
And probably have the ability to do so. So anyway, those are our 16 Heisman picks, 8 favorites, 4 mid-tier guys, 4 long shots. Andy and Ari, always great to see you fellas. You guys do a college football show, right? That's what you guys do for a living?
I mean, we sometimes talk about college football.
In the middle of the show here, Andy was looking at you, and I was going to go down the Rayola doesn't know how to spell his own name path, and then Doug's like, "Talk about Paul." You would not be a fan of our show.
On our show, that would have lasted like 20 minutes.
That would have been a 30-minute conversation. But yeah, no, I really appreciate it. I love you guys' show. I love you guys personally, and always. So we're gonna revisit this though, because like I drafted to win. Yeah. But now that the whole draft is over, I also want to say, I don't hate your first pick anymore. You did good because your long shot actually has a chance to be in the top 10. And like once you got that off the board, it was harder to do it.
Yeah. If my long shot hits, he will have won the Walter Payton Award and the Heisman Trophy.
Oh, look at you.
And that would be pretty amazing.
Pretty cool.
Fancy. Andy and Ari, thanks for joining us. We'll be right back on Kings of the North. Back on KOTN, 9-7 for the North in our Heisman draft, Landis. Last five picks of the North. Kind of a strong comeback.
Yeah, I like it. 9
Northern players: Jeremiyah Smith from Ohio State, Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame, Drew Aller from Penn State, Dante Moore from Oregon, Mekhi Hughes from Oregon, Devin Dampier from Utah, Mark Gronowski from Iowa, Dylan Raiola from Nebraska, and Damon Williams Jr. from Washington. That's an interesting collection of talent, is it not?
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird because I feel like people may generally say, I think it's maybe even true that there are like more Heisman candidates from the South, but I think those in the North are like very clearly defined, and have like a pretty solid shot of actually winning. So like I don't know. I kind of at the moment feel better about the winner actually coming from the North than I do the South.
Yeah, that would be. This is, if we can pound this idea strongly enough and long enough, that's the kind of thing. That's the dream. That's the dream. Well, we have many dreams, but one day, if there was an online sports book that had a betting odds on will the Heisman winner come from North, South, or border as defined by us, oh my God, wouldn't that be great? Because don't you want to bet this now? Because I'm sure the South would be the favorite. The North is probably like plus 120, right? That maybe it's close, but it's not. You get plus odds on the Northern Heisman. Even though we had a Northern Heisman last year.
You would get it most years, yeah. We can start the KOTN Sportsbook. You fund it all, and you handle all the finances, and I'll just make picks.
Yeah. No, let me write that down. I want us to sell T-shirts, and I want us to start a sports book. All right, let's get to
prop bets on pancake blocks. Be great.
But you'd be up at 4:00 in the morning on Saturday night being like, is that a pancake block or not? I don't know. We got to pay this off. We would both wind up in jail. People would have a good time, and it would end with us in jail. Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for being here live in the YouTube chat. Thanks for listening back on pods, watching back on YouTube. Thanks to Ari and Andy for joining us for that segment. Let's do Whatcha Watching, Whatcha Eating, Whatcha Thinking. We do it every Wednesday. We actually did not do it last Wednesday because we were in Vegas and we were in the midst of ball talk and we just didn't have time to squeeze it in. But we did, along the way, Bill, ask a bunch of people about stuff. So we're going to work in coaches and players with their watches. But let's start with what we are watching first because, it's what we do.
Sure.
What have you been watching, Bill Landis?
Do you want to have the Happy Gilmore 2 discourse here? Or have you watched it? I am
as removed from the Happy Gilmore discourse, I think, as any person in and around the sports world can be.
Okay. So you've seen the original? Yes.
I have.
But it's not like a favorite of yours.
I am not a Sandler person.
I'm not a huge Sandler person either. Like Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore and Big Daddy, I came out at the right time for me to like them. Yeah. But it is not hard for me to envision a world where if I were slightly older, I would not have been into them.
The Sandler thing, there's two Sandler things that connect with me. One is in Big Daddy when he's mad that the McDonald's breakfast ends sooner than he thought it did. And like if you've absorbed me over the last 10 years doing podcasts, like screaming because McDonald's breakfast ended sooner than you thought, that I get. And then he has a song that he does like in his concerts where he sings a song, Phone, Wallet, Keys, which is just the stuff you need to remember to take when you leave the house. Phone, wallet, keys. And I sing Phone, Wallet, Keys in my head every time I step out of my house. So he has improved my life because the times that I get 9 steps out of my house, I'm going phone, wallet, key. Oh, and all of my keys, right? Thank you, Adam Sandler. But the rest of it, it's not my deal. So it is, what degree is he your deal?
35% my deal.
Okay. Yeah. He's probably 15% my deal. Understanding, we certainly are aware of and understand the fact that for some people, he's 100% their deal. Like, that's great. That's wonderful.
Yes. I mean, you grow. It's just a brand of comedy that I would like hope most adults would grow out of. I suppose. But also, I just don't know. Like, I watched it and I thought it was fine because I had reasonable expectations going into it. Right? Adam Sandler hasn't made a good comedy in 25 years. Right? Why would you suddenly expect this to be anything more than the cameo fest nostalgic? I mean, it was nostalgic to the point where they just ran clips from the original Happy Gilmore.
They did
in the movie. Yeah, and it was fun. Like, there were enough surprising cameos and like making non-traditional comedic actors, by that I mostly mean like golfers, do funny things, and like I chuckled a time or two, and that was enough for me. I didn't fire up Happy Gilmore 2 on Netflix expecting to be taken back to the time when I first saw the original when I was 12 or whatever and thought it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Right. So to have expectations that would be the case, I mean, it's just like, it's crazy. Not to say you should definitely like it. Like, I certainly understand why you wouldn't like it. But to like pan it as being awful, it's like, well, what did you expect? Like, and it's not even like, the whatever deal that Sandler signed with Netflix many years ago, and like they've mostly just been like that Happy Madison brand of comedy. None of them are good. They're all bad, whether he's in them or not. Like that was my expectation. So maybe the problem was not so much the movie itself and what people were expecting from it going into it. It's like, I thought it was whatever. It was fine. I'll never watch it again, but I'm happy to have been taken down memory lane by a movie I liked as a child.
This is to bring this back, given that Happy Gilmore 2 is maybe just okay, and Ryan Day just won the national championship. Has Ryan Day passed Adam Sandler on the list of greatest alumni of Manchester Central High School from the state of New Hampshire? Like, has that battle, is it closer than it's ever been?
Maybe it could be. I do think at the very least Ryan Day has gained on him. I'll say this about Sandler. Like, I actually, so I watched the basketball movie he did.
With Kevin Garnett?
A scout. No. Oh. So I haven't seen that one. That's Uncut Gems. I actually didn't see that.
People
one,
like that. Thing. People thought that was good.
Yeah. And I know like people really like Punch Drunk Love. It's another like more dramatic turn from. I've never seen that either.
David in the chat likes Punch Drunk Love. I agree on Punch Drunk Love. He was good in that.
So like, I'm not like, Sandler has talent for sure, and maybe he should just like do more of that and less of the fart humor that he got famous for.
Yeah.
And I forget what I was going to say, but no, his recent comedic work, and really it's stretching back, going on decades now, is not, I don't think, doing him any favors. To the point where, maybe he is being passed by Ryan Day as the most famous alumni of Manchester Central.
I mean, I do say, like, the guy knows what he is, knows what he wants to do, knows what he's good at. He takes care of his friends and family. He gives the audience what they want, and he's been incredibly successful at it. And I think I've talked about this before. Like, my children in high school, when they would have like dress up days for homecoming week and stuff, they'd have Adam Sandler dress up day, because everybody knows what that is, which is still like cargo shorts down to mid calf and an oversized weird t-shirt. And it's like, hey, you look like Adam Sandler. He has a fashion. He has a fashion style. He has a movie style. Like, that is, to have established that is like certainly successful in a million different ways. So it's okay if it's not your thing. It's not exactly my thing.
Yeah. Hustle was good though. I recommend watching Hustle. I thought it was a good basketball movie.
Yeah. The Billy Joel 2-part documentary on HBO Max. Where are you on Billy Joel?
I don't know if this is actually true or not, but my entire life to me has always been like, you're a Billy Joel guy or an Elton John guy, and I like Elton John more.
Oh, yeah. You like crazy glasses. Because there's a part in the Billy Joel documentary where he is saying they try to make him work with Elton John's band, and he's like, I'm not Elton John. Don't make me be Elton John. And then he just gets on the piano. He's like, Elton John's more rhythmic like this. And he does like Benny and the Jets on the piano. And like Benny and the Jets is like beep, boop, beep, boop. And then he's like, I'm more like this. Like, and he's all over the place. And it was interesting. I think that's fair. That's a good, there was like a David Letterman, Jay Leno thing for a while there. Like, are you a this, like, which kind of, and I think Billy Joel, Elton John, I don't know enough about modern popular culture to understand those things now? Would it be like, are you an Olivia Rodrigo person or a Chappell Roan person? Would that be a thing?
No, there's probably some pretty significant overlap there.
Who is the person that, like, is there an alternate to Taylor Swift?
I mean, there's a pretty like Kendrick Lamar and Drake is probably the best example we have of
that's the modern one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am not qualified to check in on that, but it feels like, do I want to be a Kendrick Lamar person? Like
if I had to choose, that's the side I'm choosing as someone who doesn't listen to a ton of hip hop. But yeah.
Knowing very little about this, I perhaps have absorbed this though. I think I maybe would want to be a Kendrick Lamar person, but I think I might be a Drake person.
That's probably fair.
That if people were categorizing me and they were just going through, let me, let's just do 100 people, put them in Drake or Kendrick Lamar. They're like, you cannot get Drakier than Doug Lesmerises. Billy Joel documentary is good. It's like 2.5 hours on 2 separate ones. So it's like 5 hours of sit down stuff to consume. I'm like 2 hours into episode 1. But one of the things, it's his whole life. He's part of it. His life is very interesting, just the rise of a musician. And I am just always, like, my daughter likes Billy Joel. Always on alert. I think I've talked about it before, for like modern day genius. And just, he's talking about when he was young, he played Bach and Beethoven and Mozart. And I just said, as we were watching this, like, well, if he lived in that time period, he would have been Bach or Beethoven or Mozart. And instead he's this, which is the same kind of thing that if Kendrick Lamar lived in another time, he would have done that. That there are just creative people who have the ability to come up with new styles of music or art or whatever at the highest level. And then they just would have adapted to the time period. So I don't know, like, when you think about things that way, I think we can identify genius in the past. I sometimes don't know if we can identify genius in culture. Like, we know it's like, oh, Albert Einstein, Stephen Hawking, or whatever, like people like that. Genius in culture is certainly a thing. And I don't know if there's so much culture now. I think it's harder to figure out there's so much of it and everything is niche, but also we're blind to it a little bit. So I don't want to throw the word genius around willy-nilly, but I think Billy Joel's a genius. I don't know. Tell me the difference between Billy Joel and Mozart. But then also, like, tell me the difference between Beyonce and Mozart. If you watch like Billy Joel's hair from the 70s, you would question maybe that's a wig too. But like, just these people who create, like, is Taylor Swift a genius? I don't know. Is like the people who are at the height of their thing. I don't think it's any different than those people that I recognize that way from hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, because even if you're someone for like Taylor Swift's music is not my thing, just as a lyricist, like she could be a poet, right? And she'd be like just like an incredible kind of thing, right? Like, so I think that's the kind of stuff that does tend to get lost, is because there is so much media to consume that it's like it's hard to break through. And then once you do break through, it's hard to hold people's attention long enough for them to realize what they're listening to or watching or experiencing.
So I would recommend this Billy Joel documentary. And just one of the things that they've done so far that is cool is they just have other famous people chiming in on Billy Joel. So for instance, like Bruce Springsteen, they talked to about Billy Joel. They talked to Paul McCartney about Billy Joel. And it's like, you gotta, I would recommend listening to the thing that Paul McCartney says about Billy Joel, because it's like, what? And that's like that. It's like genius on genius.
Yeah, I like that stuff a lot. There's a I think it's like Variety does a series on YouTube where they just have like actors talking to other actors about acting, and it's like, this is fascinating. Yeah.
All right, let's get to our folks. We asked players, we asked coaches in Vegas, what you watching, what you eating. Producer Mike has strung them all together, and we're going to drop them for you here. And then when we come back, we'll do what you eating and what you're thinking from the two of us. But we are eager to absorb this ourselves, because we did in the moment, Bill. Well, we have not taken in the entire package. So producer Mike has it for us. What you watching, what you eating with the folks from the Big Ten.
All right, last night.
Okay.
First time I've ever tried Wagyu.
Okay.
The greatest steak I've ever had in my life.
For real, it lives up to it?
Phenomenal.
Okay.
I mean, phenomenal. And then a show, I watched the quarterback series on Netflix, which is pretty cool.
The most recent, there's a newer one out?
Yeah,
or the
new
old
season
one?
out. Yeah, so that was pretty good. Movie, an old one, Amazon Prime, I think, Varsity Blues.
Oh yeah,
Just got back into that classic. I had to watch it. So
do you watch shows and movies that aren't about football?
I do. Yeah. So I wasn't gonna say this. I'm a big chick flick guy.
Who's not? That's all right. Say proud. Yeah, who's not?
Yeah, I mean, just makes the heart happy a little bit. So, I've been into those. Nicholas Sparks, classics.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been into.
Brings a tear to your eye a little bit.
Always
it's all right. You got to be in touch with that side.
You need it sometimes.
You got to balance it out, especially when you play a violent game. You gotta.
You get it. Man.
I know. You got to have the other side of it.
So I'm actually like a movie buff and a TV watcher every day. So I'm watching Game of Thrones right now, which is very intense. Minority Report with Tom Cruise is one of the favorite movies that I've watched recently.
Okay.
I also watched all the Ocean's movies, Ocean 11, 12, and 13.
Get in the Vegas mood.
Yeah. So that makes sense with where we are. And then we ate at Mastro's the other day in Columbus. It's a good spot. And then that's what I would say.
Where are we in Game of Thrones? How far along?
I think I finished yesterday, season 6, episode 5 or 6.
Okay, so we're beyond the Red Wedding then?
Yes, beyond the Red Wedding. Did Jon Snow died and came back?
Okay,
everything. Yeah.
So when I watched it live when the Red Wedding happened, as someone who didn't read the book, I was like, oh my, this is the biggest surprise I've seen in my lifetime watching television. Were you able to avoid the spoiler to be similarly surprised by what happened there?
I'm young enough to where the spoilers have kind of died down in terms of like seeing a bunch of things from Game of Thrones. So I was completely surprised. So I would say that Robb Stark's death and Jon Snow's death almost made me want to stop watching the show. But it was good that I kept watching. So
all right, stick with it. It's good. You'll decide for yourself whether or not you like the ending. But and the House of the Dragon's good too. Once you finish Game of Thrones, you can
that's my next thing.
I'll say some famous Amos cookies. Yeah. So I've been eating a lot, some cookies,
When you, I mean, like, do you got to watch it, or like, do you let yourself? If you want a cookie, do you eat a cookie, or are you trying to keep it straight and narrow with the diet?
Not to eat a cookie. If I want some snacks, I'm gonna eat some snacks, especially cookies. So that's really my favorite thing to eat. Probably some cookies. I've been trying to stay away from candy. Kayla, our nutritionist, been on me hard about eating candy and changing my eating habits. So yeah, I've been trying to stay away from that type of stuff.
Lately, orange chicken, fried rice.
Okay. From anywhere specific?
Not so. Yesterday, I just went to a place called Tao.
Okay.
Which is really good, but I love Panda.
Of course, classic.
But and then what you watching on Thursday? I'm gonna go see a new Fantastic Four.
Okay. Have you seen the Superman yet?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. What you think? I thought it was
pretty good.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Different kind of style from the previous.
Yeah,
Superman
it's
movies.
definitely different. They're two different types of movies, but I think the stories are really good.
Yeah. So you a big comic book movie
of course,
kind of guy?
Yeah.
What's your favorite? You like the Avengers?
I'm a Marvel guy.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four looks good. I'm excited to see that
Me
myself.
too.
All right.
I love just cheese. Like, I'll eat cheese all the time.
Like a cheese stick? Or like
cheese cubes and
cheese
like
cube.
like bagel chips or like something like that. I could eat those all day long, literally. That and like some pepperoni, like, you know what I mean? Like,
nice. Yeah.
cheese cube, and that. I love that. TV show, I'm not a big show guy, not a big movie guy either, but I'm waiting for the Stranger Things season 5 to come out.
Yeah.
I am. I'm excited for that.
Because that came out, the first season of that was a while ago now when you were a younger guy, right?
Yeah.
So now you've
I
grown
grew
up
up with it. Yeah. So that's kind of been our generation's show.
Yeah.
So season 5's on the way. We're excited.
Nice. That's like set in the 80s though, right? That's like my generation. That was that
80s,
life.
70s. Yeah.
That's the life I lived growing up.
You should be in the show. Yeah.
I'm like the Stranger Things guy.
Okay, so last night for dinner we went to Carbone.
Okay.
Yeah, we had the spicy vodka rigatoni. That was phenomenal. I haven't even been watching anything.
Film. That's always good.
Yeah,
Film.
Yeah, no, I haven't been watching any shows lately.
Tell me more about Carbone. So you get the spicy vodka rigatoni. What else was on the table?
Yeah, so we kind of got everything on the menu. Just kind of passed it around.
Family style.
Yeah, I mean, we got that. We got some lobster ravioli.
Okay.
We got some fish, some lamb chop, pork chop, lobster. Let's see here. Got calamari, octopus.
The whole ocean.
I mean, we went all out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah. Tour of the sea right
we
there.
went all out.
the Braun boys have become quite good chefs. And, you know,
what is up?
10 and 8. Their mom is an amazing cook. But I'm telling you, like Braun boy breakfast over the course of July, when I had some time to be at home with them, Lucas Braun's breakfast sandwich, like high level, guys.
Right. Yeah, we're coming over.
High level. Let's go.
I think the true mark of a great chef is whether or not you can cook an egg properly. So if you got your boys doing that already, you're on the right track.
I'm telling you, Matt Ent's head coach at Fresno State, who I played for, he and his wife were in town a couple weeks ago for a wedding that we all went to, and they're staying at the house. The Braun boys wake up. Andrew's over there flipping pancakes. Lucas is making breakfast sandwiches. And I think Dan's crew is like, man, what am I about to get myself into? And the look on their face like, this is really good.
Actually good.
Yeah.
These kids are in elementary school and they're banging it out.
And what I'm watching, my wife can attest to this. I'm not watching much. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we turn on the show to watch, and I'm usually asleep within 5 minutes. So,
Friends and Neighbors, phenomenal show on Apple TV. Right. Love that. That's what we're watching. What we're eating is anything that Heather makes. My wife's Italian and Irish, so nothing goes outside that. Now there's some great restaurants here. So you know, Mother Wolf over in Fontainebleau, the Italian restaurant.
Nice.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Don't forget that. What else did you want to know?
No, that's it. Did you watch Friends and Neighbors?
I have not watched Friends and Neighbors.
Oh my gosh. I love Friends and Neighbors.
You did like
That's
it.
the John
I did like
Hamm?
it. Yeah.
It is the John Hamm one. Yes.
Some unexpected twists and turns in there.
Yeah, we're waiting for season 2 on that. I can't wait for that to come out. But we don't watch a ton of TV.
Yeah.
As you can probably imagine.
But it's hard to ask coaches to watch TV.
But when I do, it's I gotta go. Like I can't wait 2 weeks in between a show. I gotta rewatch it the once. I gotta go. I gotta binge.
That would binging a TV show with PJ Fleck. That sounds like a thrill ride to me.
You know what Heather and I really want to do? Do you know those shows? They watch the reality shows. They watch these, like, I don't know, 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah.
Girl that my wife loves, Bravo. So, and they have the people watching the show together, commenting on the show. I want to be on a show with Heather commenting on people in the show.
Okay.
Maybe I have to wait till I'm not being a state employee, but I really want that to happen.
We'll get the Minnesota social team on that. They can
We gotta have people that can get that done, right?
Yeah. I also now I want to see you on Survivor. Now I'm thinking about you as a reality show contestant. Again, 30 years when you're done with ball.
I wouldn't bet on me in Survivor. I don't like snakes. I don't like the outdoors. I don't like, I like air conditioning. You know, I do like that.
Big Brother instead.
Yeah.
Survivor.
Or how about the what's the one with the X? Generation X?
Yeah. Okay.
Destination X. That's the new one.
Yeah.
That show's phenomenal. I would do that. Or the Amazing Race with Heather. I would do that.
Okay.
Destination X. Amazing Race. Those are my jam.
Come on.
Paul, can we get this stuff done?
Amazing Race.
Jeez, I'm not asking for the world.
Yeah, we'll get on that. You get the Bernie Beermeister, and then you can go on the Amazing Race. That's the goal.
I'm really into like shark movies, like the Meg 2. It's like that was good.
Shark movies.
Yeah.
Are you the shark? Is that what? No. Okay.
I enjoyed it, like the thrill of it, like just of the movie. I just think it's nice.
I didn't know if that was like a secret. Like, okay, you're like moving through the water and like stalking people. We want to do the shark. We don't want to nickname you the shark or anything. No, we're good.
Nah.
Deep Blue Sea.
It's good.
Good shark
watch
one?
it.
All right. Yeah. Jaws. You into Jaws?
I'm a Jaws guy a little bit. Not nothing too crazy though. I'm not super into that one, but like just really like the CGI movies is like good to me. Like I like the Jurassic World.
Okay.
Like the whole series. And
Yeah.
Really good, yeah.
Did you see the new one in the theater?
Yeah, I just watched it recently.
Yeah, it was good.
Right now, I am currently binge watching the Punisher TV show, and I am planning to go see that new Fantastic Four as soon as I get back. So,
do we want to do that? Do we want to drop the Punisher nickname on you right now?
Oh, absolutely.
I'll let y'all decide.
You spread that in the locker room, right?
The Punisher.
I am never calling you Ento Sake again. It's like, hey, did you see the Punisher had 2.5 sacks on Saturday? It's like, yeah, that was awesome. Okay, thank you for that. Preston, you got anything?
I'm deep into The Sopranos right now.
Nice. First time.
First
Okay.
time. I've seen all the quote unquote best shows ever. You know, The Office, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones. So this one's next on the list. I'm loving it.
Love Island.
Okay. Love Island.
I watched that, all 36 episodes of that, you know.
I can't get into it. My wife watches it. I can't get into it.
So I kind of skim through, you know, like I feel like watching every episode is kind of like, I can't, it gets boring. So I kind of sim through.
Okay.
You know, like, okay, I'll maybe watch half an episode. Okay, I already know what's gonna go happen right here, and then kind of get through. Because sometimes I see it on TikTok,
right?
Like different, it kind of ruins my freaking steps. So it's like, oh dang, like I gotta watch half of the episode. Oh, I know what happens now. This is that episode. Love Island, something that I watched. I just finished it.
I'm a big space movie guy.
Okay.
So I really like any of the space movies. I watch Interstellar a lot. Peaky Blinders. Peaky Blinders. That's my favorite TV show of all time. That I was contemplating.
You understand
Peaky
it?
Blinders
You can
too.
understand what you watch subtitles. You use a subtitle.
I can understand what
you
they're
got
saying.
it. Good for you,
Yeah.
man. I tried to watch it. It's like I don't know what these cats are saying.
I'm deep
yeah.
in
Okay.
Peaky Blinders.
Okay.
The order of them. Food wise, I've been having a lot of steak recently. Steak and cornbread. Love that.
Okay. They got some cornbread in the media room, by the way.
I might have
Jalapeno
to check
cornbread.
it out.
Want me to poke your head in there and find some of that.
Yeah.
So I started to watch on the flight here, The Martian. Is
I've
that?
seen The Martian.
I didn't finish it, but I
Great
should.
movie.
Okay, I should
Great
stick
movie.
with it.
That's
Okay.
up there. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I had steak and potatoes last night for
There you
dinner. That Nate got for me, and that was pretty good.
That hits.
That's like my favorite food. So nothing new. And nothing new. Actually, I was watching Quarterback, the second season of that.
Okay.
On Netflix the other day, and that was pretty good.
So let me ask you: do you watch Quarterback for fun, or do you watch Quarterback because you want to know how quarterbacks think?
I want to know how quarterbacks
Look
think.
at you. Even when you're watching stuff for fun, you're watching film.
Yeah, for
you're
sure.
getting in their heads. Kirk Cousins is like, "Hey, I'm doing this," and you're like, "I know your secrets now."
Yeah.
You're crazy. I knew it, but the rest of the time you're watching film, aren't
Yep.
you? You guys.
I just started watching Quarterback on
Hearing that a lot.
Netflix.
A lot of guys watching quarterback. Actually, it's funny. A lot of defensive guys are watching
I mean,
quarterback.
trying to dive in there a little bit, trying to see what they got going
Okay.
on. But no, it's so my girlfriend, she dances for the Lions.
Okay.
And Jared Goff, and he's on there, and so she's intrigued with it because of that aspect with it, and I'm intrigued with it. So it's a good show for us to kind of bounce off each other with that and whatnot. But it's been a good. I think I'm on episode 3 right now. So
Would you get into Vegas last night?
Yeah, we got in Vegas last night.
So did you have dinner here or no?
Yeah, we went to this buffet. Starts with a B. Cannot think of it. Something. No, it's in Caesar's Palace. Back. You know what I'm talking about? They had everything. Coach Farron stayed with us too, which was freaking sweet. But Backnalls? Yes.
Okay.
That was really good.
Okay.
And it was unlimited. So Farron's smart and researching what we had to do. I was at the dessert table most of the night.
Okay. So when you're at a buffet and you're loading up the plate, are you okay mixing cuisines, or are you trying to keep it all kind of in the same lane? Will you put a little bit of like seafood and like fried chicken and maybe like some Chinese food all on the same plate?
I put everything in
Okay.
there. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
I had some Mexican food, some prime rib in there. I had some seafood in there. I had desserts. It's buffets are hard because I want everything.
Yeah.
But then you get full. It's like, but no, they had some good food there. I loved it.
They're just regular people, Bill. They're just like you and I.
I kind of think that should just be the whole show from now on.
Everybody eats. Everybody watches. Everybody has opinions on that. You talked about Nicholas Sparks movies with an all Big Ten linebacker. How about that?
I sure did. Yeah. Listen, it's a good message from Aiden Fisher to get in touch with your emotional side every now and then.
Yeah.
I
liked
appreciate it. Yeah.
Mike, producer Mike did a great job putting all that together. For those listening on a podcast who did not know who everybody was, very quickly, because they weren't introduced, that was 16 different people that we talked to for Whatcha. That was Indiana linebacker Aiden Fisher, Ohio State safety Caleb Downs, Ohio State receiver Jeremiyah Smith, Rutgers quarterback Ethan Kaliak-Manis, Illinois quarterback Luke Altmaier, Nebraska lineman Henry Lutovsky, Northwestern head coach David Braun, Minnesota head coach PJ Fleck, Washington quarterback Damon Williams Jr., Northwestern edge rusher Anto Saka, Northwestern quarterback Preston Stone, Washington running back Jonah Coleman, Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq, Oregon linebacker Bryce Betcher, Michigan State linebacker Jordan Hall, and Iowa offensive lineman Logan Jones. And Mike did a great job pushing all that together. One of the things that got cut out was after I told Anto Saka that we were going to nickname him the Punisher, when Preston Stone said that he liked The Sopranos, I also said we're going to nickname you Paulie Walnuts. So we'll see if that sticks. Like if that's like week 3, if like on Big Noon, they're like, oh, watch out. Like Preston Stone, he gets easily offended at slights and then will murder you. He's Paulie Walnuts and he's going to take it to the Oregon defense. All right. That was fun. You don't have to tell me that this becomes an eating and TV show that occasionally it'd be like, what do you think about ball? Would be like the 30-minute segment once a week. And the rest of the time we're just talking about food. Yeah. What are you eating?
I've had 2 different eating experiences like in the last week and a half or so, maybe 2 weeks, where I've become fascinated with this idea of like a place being known for one thing, but in the course of like making its dishes has to make sort of like an accessory food item to that turns out to be way better than the thing that they're sort of known for. I don't know if I'm explaining it the right way. So I'll just so I had an ice cream sandwich from an ice cream parlor, but the cookie, and this place doesn't make cookies. Like the cookie is like the best like double chocolate chip cookie I've ever had. And I think like 2 weeks ago, I went to Torchy's Tacos for lunch and I got the Trailer Park taco, which is like their chicken finger taco. Yes. And I think the chicken finger is like the best chicken finger I've ever had. Like they should just make chicken fingers and stop selling tacos.
The Torchy's conversation is very difficult for me because I've had the Trailer Park taco and then I am just a picky eater. So I don't want all the stuff on it sometimes. And then I wind up eating a chicken finger in a tortilla for $7.50. And I say, why am I here? But it is a good chicken finger. But but those tacos are not cheap. And I can get to a point where it's just a McDonald's snack wrap, which are back, by the way. And it's like, well, McDonald's snack wrap's like $2.39. Why am I doing this at a taco place? But that's interesting because I am typically very interested in what you do best. So I don't know what to think if you do something on the side better than what you do best. It's confusing.
Yeah, and I don't know, like Torchy's tacos are great. Like the Trailer Park chicken finger taco is not the only good thing on the menu. I think it's maybe the best thing on the menu. But I just wonder if it'd be a much better business if they were just like their own version of Raising Cane's and just sold those chicken fingers, because their chicken fingers are better than Raising Cane's chicken fingers.
Crazy. You got to tell them this. You got to let them know.
Next time I see Mr. Torchy, I'll let him know.
This is not exactly what I'm eating, but I've just given in. For some reason before, I'm always worried about my phone being too full of stuff because I take work videos on it. I take personal videos on it. I'm trying to be better about cleaning it up, but I was very reticent to just go all the way with food apps. And I still was going through drive-thrus and ordering in person. And they'd say, did you use the app today? And I'd say, no, why would I use the app? I want human interaction here. And I've given up. And I just have all the apps on my phones right now. And the Chick-fil-A app the other day had a game that you could play and you could win chicken nuggets playing the app game. And then I was like, what an experience. Why did it take me this long? I'm 51 years old. Am I the last person to give up and have 14 fast food and fast casual restaurant apps on my phone? Or do some people hold out?
I don't have any.
Because you are purposeful about not wanting them on your phone? Have you just not gotten around to it?
I think it's because like there's always a percentage of shame that's involved for me when I'm going to a fast food place. And I feel like the ultimate shame is just having it at your fingertips. So for some reason, driving through and placing the order myself is slightly better than using my fat thumbs to order a fast food meal that I shouldn't be eating.
Because it's always like if you spend $75 at McDonald's on the app, you'll get a free small fry. So then I think, well, why wouldn't I want to get the free small fry by accruing these points? But then you think to yourself, why did I just spend $75 at McDonald's in the last month? What am I putting in my body? This is a reminder of that.
Yeah, I don't want that either. Yeah.
It's not worth the $1.39 small fries to have a reminder of what you're doing to yourself.
I don't need record keeping on my fast food habits.
And then in case it comes up in court one day, it's like, Mr. Landis, we subpoenaed your records. Is it not true that you went to Burger King 6 times in a 9-day period? How can you prove that? You got the point, and you got free chicken fries as a result.
Right.
I might have to go delete them right now. What are you thinking about?
I actually can't remember if I said this on any of our shows in Vegas, so I apologize if I did. But I that was my third time to Vegas, and it was the first time I ever spent more than one night in Vegas. And I was, I think, shocked by the amount of children. We were at Mandalay Bay, and like I had sort of like extra time to like just sort of like process that, because I was on a red eye out the Thursday after Big Ten Media Days, so I had nothing to do other than like sit in the casino for 4 hours, and I like did some work and ate some dinner, but I was just like sitting in this massive people for 4 hours, just kind of people watching, and it was like 70% children, which like I did not it would never occur to me that Vegas is a place where you pack up the family and take them. And also, like, what do kids do for fun in Las Vegas? I have no idea. So I was very sort of taken aback by the amount of kids that were running around the Mandalay Bay.
There is a lot of stuff there. I mean, there's the Cirque du Soleil shows, and there's a shark reef, and the pools are really good now. And I do think.
But like when you were 11, like when I was 11, I'm not fired up to go see the Michael Jackson Cirque du Soleil show, or the Bob Marley show they had there in the hotel. Or Carrot Top, who was next door.
Yeah. I don't know if I should tell this story. My mom watches this show sometimes. I don't think I'll tell this story. I'll tell it. This is for KOT and After Dark. I'll tell it in week 1 when we're on at 11 o'clock at night. Because I did go to Vegas when I was a kid, at least once, and had now I'm making it sound worse than it is. Should I just tell it?
Was it a formative experience?
Yeah. Should I just tell it?
Probably.
So I don't know if this is I don't know. This is just life. This is just I wasn't 6. I was a teenager, but they use, and I don't know if this is still how they do it, but they used to have like, there would be like a variety show or whatever. Like, this was, whatever, many years ago, 35 years ago in Las Vegas. So it was like a show where they had like dancers. And if you went to the 7 o'clock show, the dancers had tops on. And if you went to the 10 o'clock show, the dancers didn't have tops on. And we went to the 10 o'clock show, and that was how Doug learned about the world. And that was little Dougie. Like, I'm never leaving this place. This is America. And like, it wasn't like, it was just a thing. It just was. It was normal. It was normal in that setting. And so it's like that you can take your children to Vegas and not have that part of it.
I hope so.
I don't know if I should have told.
But otherwise, there are a lot of very, very happy, maybe / traumatized children running around the Mandalay Bay.
It wasn't like I came back in 3rd grade and was like, do a report about what you did on your summer vacation. It's like, I saw topless women on my summer vacation. Now, that wasn't my 3rd grade report. But anyway, I think there's a version in the end. I do think there's a version of Vegas you can do with kids because there's enough stuff. And I went over to the Excalibur, and there's like a giant arcade downstairs. And there was another place that was closed when I went by it, maybe in the Luxor, where it was a gaming spot, like for gamers. I did see that. It was appealing to gamers. And so, but what are video games other than training children to enjoy slot machines, frankly? Like,
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe don't go. Maybe don't go. In conclusion, I started off maybe trying to defend taking your children to Vegas, and I think maybe the answer is maybe not.
I don't think I'll be taking my child to Vegas. Yeah.
Okay. So I just was thinking about this the other day. I've said to myself, I wonder what the farthest point from where I am right now is in the world. Like how if I wanted to go as far away from where I am right now, and I guess that thing, those are called antipodes or antipodal points, which is, and the way you determine that, I was like, well, of course this makes sense, but I didn't wrap my head around it at the moment. It's like, if you just put where you are, if you draw like a line through the center of the earth, and where you come out the other side, that's the farthest you can be away from where you are right now. And I just doing this very briefly, I mean, I think you can do that on the internet. You can just put in, or you can do it yourself. And we talk about latitude and longitude on this show. If you know your latitude and longitude, then you just like flip it, and come up what's my opposite of that on the other side of the world, and then you know what that is. So like, I think, for instance, like where I'm sitting right now, it would be somewhere in the middle of the Indian Ocean. So it's not land, because this world of ours is filled with water. But I thought that was interesting. Like, just to think to yourself, I might just start experimenting with some antipodal points and just trying to figure out what are the places on Earth that are as far apart from each other as possible.
Stay tuned to the future KOTN episode where we give you the antipodal points of all 28 northern teams.
That's so good. And then we can do it for the South too. It's like, what is the antipodal point of Greenville, South Carolina? And if it's funny, then we'll say it. Anyway, that's it. Thanks to everybody on who gave us their Whatcha Watching and Whatcha Eating while we were in Vegas. Thanks to producer Mike, as always, putting that together, doing all the graphics, making us look good and sound good. Thanks to Ari Wasserman and Andy Staples for joining us on this show. And we will be back on Monday. Reminder, Thursday, episode 4 of the 25-year winter. Landis, we think the folks will like it.
We do think they'll like it. I liked it. I listened to it again this morning, and I liked it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. I think you're allowed to listen to your own stuff. That's okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks to you guys for being here. We'll catch you on Monday, but you got some 25-year winter to catch up on in between. As always, without you guys, we're just a couple of folks shouting to a microphone. So for now, he's Bill Landis. I'm Doug Lesmerises. And that was Kings of the North.